Okay, ladies and gentlemen, wild week 4. We are going to go through and we are going to be answering some fantasy football questions here. Sorry we are a little late. I've been updating our rest of season rankings for flockfantasy.com. Haven't gotten officially done yet. We're going to submit those tomorrow after the games tonight, but there have been some crazy changes. I would love to answer any questions that y'all have because honestly, I kind of need to talk through some things with y'all, especially how we are going through and looking to rank, the Miami backfield, right? That's a good example of where it's like really hard to rank these guys rest of season, where they just dropped 70 points. Devon Achane and Raheem Mostert combined for like 7-8 touchdowns, something ridiculous. And we're sitting here going, oh, okay, well, is this something that we are going to be able to rely upon going forward? Fundamentally, what's going to happen whenever we are getting back in Jeff Wilson Jr.? Is this a 3-man running back by committee? Obviously, it is an elite level offense, so I don't necessarily think that we do go through and sell these players. But this is an interesting question here, and I'd love for y'all to answer this in the live chat. We have a question coming out from E-League. It says, what do we sell Raheem Mostert for? Can everybody please go down to the chat and let me know, what are you thinking about these running backs? And if you were looking at Raheem Mostert, I guess we can play a couple different questions here. Would you rather have Raheem Mostert or Kyren Williams rest of season? We're going to get to see Kyren Williams obviously tonight. Kyren Williams getting pretty much every single snap out of this backfield. Who are we going to be going for between those two players? Kyren Williams or Raheem Mostert? Please spam the chat and let me know what direction you're going in. Okay. We got Mostert, Kyren Williams. Mostert's not, yeah, so it looks like most people are saying Kyren Williams. I 100% agree with y'all. I think we do want to go ahead. We want to take Kyren Williams in that instance, given the fact that with Kyren Williams, I mean, you get the guaranteed touches going forward. You don't really have to worry about another running back coming into this backfield. Hell, the only other running back in this backfield, right? They just banished to Minnesota. So let's go through another hypothetical. How about we go ahead and look at another running back in Miami? Who would you rather have going forward? Would you rather have Raheem Mostert or would you rather have Devon Achane, ladies and gentlemen? I mean, super interesting call there in that obviously Mostert's the guy that has had the role. Mostert honestly had more volume this week as well. But if we're looking forward to this, I mean, fundamentally at the end of the day, you have Achane as the rookie. This was the running back that you'd assume continues to expand his role, maybe as we get a little bit of a contraction from the role of what you have with like the 31-year-old player, right? So let me know what y'all are thinking here. We have Devon Achane, Raheem Mostert, Achane, Achane. Yeah, it looks like most people, actually, it looks like it's kind of split 50-50. I mean, really, really tough on those instances. This is going to be something that I spend a considerable amount of time thinking about over the next few days, but I promise you, I will get those updates to the rest of season rankings, at least my rest of season rankings on flockfantasy.com for everybody tomorrow at the very latest. Hopefully we can get that out tonight. And of course, real quick, if you have not done so already, ladies and gentlemen, please go down there, drop a like on this live stream, subscribe to the channel if you play fantasy football. We are closing in on 200,000 subscribers. And if you want to check out any of these pick'ems for tonight's game, you can find that link in the live chat, find it in the description, find it in the comment section. Promo code FLOCK on Underdog Fantasy. 100% deposit match up to $500 with a new account, plus our rest of season fantasy football rankings, plus a Joe Burrow special pickup more than less than half a total yard tonight. We are getting out a ton of Flock fantasy ads for everybody. Use promo code FLOCK on Underdog as well. But let's go through and let's answer some questions. Josh Reacts coming out says, hey, would you trade Raheem Mostert for Jalen Waddle? I personally would. Typically, I would say that we need to be charging a premium if we are selling a running back. But at this point, no concerns whatsoever of Waddle going forward. I mean, this is an elite level player in an elite level offense. We have Mixon, Montgomery, Kyren Williams already. Receivers are Tyreek, Garrett Wilson, Nico, Tank Dell. Yeah, I do think that, honestly, you have a similar ceiling, but a higher floor for Jalen Waddle rest of season. Now, Invetter says Burrow, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Chase, Evans, Hopkins, Gibbs, Javonte, Brees, Gus. We need running back ideas. Would you trade Christian Kirk and Brees Hall for Josh Jacobs and Tutu Atwell? I don't want to come out here and scream, oh my gosh, Josh Jacobs is still an elite level running back one like he was a year ago. Clearly, this offense has issues. This is not a good offensive line, and possibly the only guy that will be able to actually overcome this will end up being Davante Adams. But nonetheless, I would still way rather have the situation that Josh Jacobs is in than what we are looking at with Breece Hall. Give me Jacobs over Hall. And then if we're looking at Christian Kirk to Atwell, I mean, I would rather have Kirk, but fundamentally, I don't necessarily know what we are looking at long-term with the situation that we have with Zay Jones coming back into this offense. As once Jones is back in, we would assume that this volume for Christian Kirk does go down slightly. But Fellow Slurper coming out says, how much fab should we spend on Joshua Palmer or Quentin Johnson? I'm really sorry, my friend. And let me please remind everybody that maybe is new here. We cannot answer direct fab questions unless you let me know the amount of teams that are in your league and or the player that we will be dropping. Because without knowing those two data points, completely different answers. If you're playing in an 8-team league with only 5 bench spots, you probably shouldn't even pick up Joshua Palmer. If you're playing in a 14-team format with 8 bench spots, you should probably be spending over 50% of your fab on him. So it's a very difficult question to answer if we don't know your exact league specifics. And if I don't know your exact league specifics, to be honest with you, I'd be giving you a very bad answer if I tried to answer it. Now, Tyler says, is Waddle worth starting? He hasn't done much anything minus the concussion. Oh, 100% Jalen Waddle is worth starting. Obviously, we're not starting him any week that he's ruled out due to the concussion. But when Jalen Waddle is back in, is a wide receiver that's been elite for 2 years now from an efficiency perspective. He was a phenomenal prospect coming out of Alabama. Very similar to what we were saying about Tua coming into the season, right? If a player is elite every step of the way, we're similar to Tua. Jalen Waddle was the top prospect coming out of school. Then you go to college. I mean, hell, he dominates at Alabama. He goes top 10 in the NFL draft. He's great as a rookie. He's great as a sophomore. It's probably going to be someone that's great as a second-year player as well. I mean, a third-year player as well, assuming the offense is good, which clearly Miami is. I love Jalen Waddle. Cal coming out says 3-0, baby, non-PPR. We have Goff, Etienne, Gibbs, Adams, Hill, Laporta. The flex is Rachaad White, Christian Watson, Christian Kirk, Garrett Wilson. I fell for the Kelly trap weeks 2 and 3, but somehow survived. Flex is my only issue. I'm okay with Gibbs. 100%, I think you're all right with Gibbs. The only thing I would say is if we are looking at this, my man, if you wanted to go ahead and maybe take a depth wide receiver like Christian Kirk, I would be interested to see what we could do if we wanted to package together maybe like Kirk and Rachaad White long-term, maybe get a player that we're really excited about for that flex. Because going back to what we were mentioning previously, I am a little bit hesitant if we are going to be looking at Christian Kirk's involvement in this offense going forward, as I do think we may come back down to earth just slightly once we add Zay Jones back in. Now, William coming out says 1 and 2, 10-team full PPR format. We have Allen, Watson, James Cook, Kyron Williams, JT, Kelly, Tyreek, Hopkins, Gabe Davis, Judy, Hollywood, Tutu, Laporta, Hunter Henry. Who to package together to sell high? I mean, if we were looking at doing anything here, going to be great that we get Jonathan Taylor back in 2 weeks. Obviously, we have James Cook and Kyron Williams starting in the meantime. I would say that wide receiver 2 maybe is going to be a little bit weaker for us. And if you wanted to go through and take DeAndre Hopkins, player that's a little bit on the older side that you don't necessarily expect to get better as the season progresses, if you wanted to package him with Hunter Henry, potentially to a team that needed a tight end so we can get a marginal upgrade at wide receiver, it looks like Laporta is a must-start guy every single week. So if you wanted to make that move, looks like you can and just rely on Sam Laporta. Laporta is way better than I ever thought he would have been, at least in year 1. But Uncle Drew says bounce back Burrow or are you streaming Stafford? So it's very interesting is if I was looking at these underdog pick'ems that you have this week. Now keep in mind, these underdog pick'ems led us astray whenever we followed them down the Joshua Kelly path this past week. But nonetheless, if you look at Stafford, they have Stafford at about 258 total yards, and they have him for about 17 fantasy points. You're going to be looking at Joe Burrow up at 19 fantasy points with these underdog pick'ems. Let me pull up the most recent Vegas Sportsbook lines that we have, because I think that should give us a pretty good idea as well of maybe some realistic expectations that we can be having with these two QBs. But if we're looking at this, you actually had the Cincinnati Bengals moving from being 2-point favorites to now 3-point favorites in this game with Burrow being good to go. With Cincinnati being 3-point favorites, I probably go Burrow for the ceiling. If you really wanted to say, Mason, you know what, man, I'm only down 6 points. 6 points, it wouldn't be my matchup. Then I'd probably go with the floor of Matthew Stafford. But really depends. Are you going with the floor or ceiling here, my friend? Now, Emily says Brian Robinson or King Henry rest of season. I'm going to go Derrick Henry rest of season. Now, we were making our updated rankings for flockfantasy.com earlier today. We are moving Derrick Henry down a little bit more, but I don't think he can move down to the Brian Robinson range just yet. TT says Jerome Ford, Zay Flowers, Pacheco, Ford, Travis Kelce. Zay Flowers is someone that's skyrocketing up rankings for me right now, but you definitely go with the best player in the deal, my man. You definitely go with Kelce. Margot says drop Roschon or Charbonnet for Devon Achane. I think at this point you probably would drop, I hate to say it. Do you drop Roschon Johnson? With Roschon, has a clear path to be the running back one in his backfield. But with that being said, his backfield is just worth significantly less than what you'd have in Seattle. I think Charbonnet is higher ceiling. If you were to see an injury to Kenneth Walker, you probably drop Zach Charbonnet for Devon Achane, though. Now, Zori says, up by 11, start Puka or A.J. Brown. Opponent has Mixon and a kicker. I personally am going A.J. Brown over Puka. Like we were saying earlier in the videos, I did like Puka for more than 64.5 total yards on Underdog tonight. They did end up moving him, though, which is a little disappointing. You have A.J. Brown at about 13.35 fantasy points on Underdog for their pick'ems. You're going to look at Puka, where they have Puka currently sitting at 12.55 fantasy points. I'm going to go with the player that I believe to be in a better offense. I'm going to go with the player that I believe that we have a larger sample on him being a top talent. And I'm going to also listen to the Underdog pick'em. So I'm personally going to go through and take A.J. Brown over Puka. But let me ask everybody in the live chat, please, everybody in the chat, let me know, what direction are you going in? Are you going to be starting Puka Nacua or A.J. Brown tonight? Because, obviously Puka is a wide receiver that coming into this week was leading the NFL in targets. And after tonight, he'll still probably be leading the NFL in targets. We got Puka, AJ, Puka, AJ, pretty even. AJ, Puka, AJ, Puka, Puka, AJ, Puka. Yeah, so it looks like most people are going with Puka Nacua, my man. Yeah, 20 targets last week. That's Keenan Allen level, at least. It's just, for me, I always typically go with the guy that we have the larger sample for. Hans says 12-team league, PPR 3-0, where we have Lamar, Jacobs, Walker, Hill, Judy, Hawkinson, Kyron Williams, Kirk, Zach Moss, Sutton, Myers. Should we trade Jacobs and Judy / Moss for Kupp and Charbonnet? So going from Jacobs to Kupp, I think we will prefer Kupp rest of season, considering the fact that we should get Kupp back in 2 weeks from now. And if you are looking at Zach Charbonnet versus Jerry Judy, Zach Moss, I'm definitely going to take the Jerry Judy, Zach Moss side of things. I think this is a very fair deal. 3-0 roster, I am fine if we wanted to make that play for Kupp, as long as we're not trading away both Judy and Zach Moss. I'd probably at least keep Zach Moss for this next week as well, especially if we can go 4-0 and they bring Cooper Kupp onto that nasty team. Now, Kamaga says quarterback, we have Hurts, wide receiver Chase, Allen, Myers. We also have Kyron Williams, Zach Moss, Kyle Pitts, flex, Hollywood, Brees, Kamara, Watson, Hunt, Barkley, any moves in a 10-team full PBR format. It's hard to do it tonight because we are waiting until the A.J. Brown. We'd have to do it in about 2 hours. But if we could send like Myers in another piece and go get an upgrade, go get A.J. Brown, I think that'd make a lot of sense. But fundamentally, no, I don't think we have any moves with this team. Really nice that we got to start Zach Moss and Kyron Williams this week as waiver wire pickups, and still in the long term get back Alvin Kamara and Saquon Barkley. I think we'll be in a very good spot here, my friend. Now, El Chapo coming out says just traded Keenan for Pittman, James Cook, and Joe Mixon. Did I win in a 10-team format? So if you needed a running back, I understand making this move. Both Michael Pittman and Keenan Allen have been dominating in targets. Now, I will say in the case of Keenan Allen, obviously this season has pretty much gone the exact way you would have wanted to for him. You have the Austin Eckler injury, then followed up with Mike Williams being out for the season. I think it's a fair deal. If you want to make a swing for the running backs, go for it, my man. Now, Crab Vision says we lost Mike Williams. We have Mahomes, CMC, Gibbs, Moss, Charbonnet, Hunt, Warren, JT, Ridley, Watson, Dotson, Deontay, Waller, Laporta. Should we make any trades? So wide receiver may be a little bit weak for us at this point. If we have CMC, Gibbs, JT, Hunt, Warren, we have so much running back depth here that if we could potentially go to a team that maybe lost Nick Chubb, maybe to a team that's really struggling at running back, and we can go, hey man, I'll give you Zach Moss, who's a running back one right now, and Deontay Johnson, give me a significant upgrade at wide receiver so we can cover our loss of Mike Williams. I think that would fundamentally make sense if we aren't guaranteed with the long-term value of Zach Moss, where obviously JT is going to come back in 2 weeks. Carson says, meeting my long-distance girlfriend for the first time. Happy for you, my man. Really, really happy for you. That's awesome. Now, Niner Matt says, 12-team PPR, 2 wide receivers in a flex. We have Hurts, Connor, Gus, Keenan, Lamb, Andrews, Tyreek. And then on the bench, we have Dak, Charbonnet, Gainwell, Hunt, Addison, Boyd, Kamara. Should we make any moves? Likely 3-0. I'm up by 3, and my opponent has Rachaad White. Yeah, we're up by 3. We have Jalen Hurts versus their Rachaad White. I think going forward, I mean, maybe it'd be nice if we could find a better RB2. Now, in terms of making trades, actually, we don't even have to. We're going to get Kamara back. We have the Keenan bump with no Mike Williams. Lamb and Tyreek as elite level wide receivers alongside him. Phenomenal, phenomenal team. I don't think we're looking to make any trades. The only thing I'd say is the player that we're going to be cutting most likely will be Tyler Boyd, depending on what happens tonight. Because typically down there in the bottom of the bench, especially on a roster where we have elite level wide receivers like this, I would prefer to prioritize us going out there and hopefully taking some running backs that have very high ceilings. Okay. Now, our next question coming out from, I believe, Joe says, 12-team fab for Devon Achane. We're dropping Chuba Hubbard. If we're dropping Chuba Hubbard and we're picking up Devon Achane, I'm going to be extremely aggressive. I'm willing to go 60-70% of whatever our fab budget is. Like, it's week 4. We're about to approach the bye weeks. Devon Achane just came out, dropped 50 points as a rookie running back in an elite level offense. I'm going aggressive. I think go 50-60%. Now, Basil says 10-team full BBR 0-3. We have Hurts, Mixon, Ramondre, Chase. How do you know this? How do you know you're 0-3? We have Hurts, Mixon, Chase all to go tonight. I guess maybe we went up against the combo Devon Achane and Raheem Mostert this past week. Palmer, Godwin, Ward on the bench. Kind of panicking with the team, but the team is good, my man. Really, the fundamental thing that we need to see is just the New York Giants offense be a little bit more functional, fueling Darren Waller a bit more. And then obviously Joe Burrow getting healthy for Chase and Mixon. Now, produced by Bayad coming out says, would you trade Devonta Smith, Rachaad White for Aaron Jones and A.J. Brown? Smith versus A.J. Brown. Give me A.J. Brown, even though Smith has been the significantly better receiver up until this point. I think that they are close, but still give me Brown. And then Rachaad White versus Aaron Jones. Honestly, based off the play of Jordan Love and under the assumption we get Aaron Jones back this week, I do think the Packers offense will be better than the Bucs going forward. Probably go Aaron Jones here, my friend. So I'd probably make the deal. Omar says, should we trade Kenneth Walker and Jordan Addison for Jamar Chase? Both Walker and Addison are players that are becoming more and more appealing in fantasy. I would go get Chase, though. My running backs are Bijan, Walker, Montgomery, Warren, Devon Achane. My receivers are AJ, Olave, Watson, and Addison. I would definitely see if we could get away with trading Montgomery and Warren instead of Walker. But if this was the best deal, I think we'd do it. Now, Will says, what's the lowest I sell Kyren Williams for at the flex spot? We lost Chubb, but we have Mixon and Walker. Want someone better in the long term. Let's play a game here in the live chat, ladies and gentlemen. Please go to the chat and answer me this. Would you rather have Kyren Williams for your flex spot rest of season? Or would you rather possibly pivot over and go with Jonathan Taylor? Let's just get a baseline here. Baseline. Jonathan Taylor or Kyren Williams, ladies and gentlemen. I know my answer is relatively easy. Just want to make sure we're on the same page. Okay, thank God, everybody. We got some people saying Kyren Williams, but no, overwhelmingly, we got people saying JT. Actually, no, never mind. We got a lot of Kyren in here. It's kind of split. If you're looking long-term and we have someone to start right now, my man, I'll sell Kyron Williams for Jonathan Taylor. I would love to do that. If we can go do that, let's pull it, my man. Let's get that going. Okay. Now, let me swing this back to the other page. And real quick, ladies and gentlemen, we are 1 like away from hitting 200 likes on this live stream. So please, if you have not done so already, go down there, drop a like on this stream. Subscribe to the channel if you play fantasy football, of course. And if you want to check out any of these pick'ems for the game tonight over on Underdog Fantasy, you can find that link in the live chat. Find it in the description. Find it in the comment section. Promo code FLOCK. You're going to get a 100% deposit match up to $500 with the new Underdog account. And at the same time, you're going to be getting our rest of season fantasy football rankings and tiers. You're going to be getting a Joe Burrow special pick'em tonight. More than less than half a total yard. So please make sure you are taking advantage of that, ladies and gentlemen. But I believe our next question here coming out from Justin. Justin says, week 4, Hollywood, DJ Moore, or Tank Dell. The last thing I'm going to tell you is go through and start someone for Justin Fields. I'll tell you that right now. I don't know. I'd probably go Tank Dell if I'm going to be honest with you. I haven't looked at the matchups. To be honest with you, I haven't made any of our rankings for this next week yet. I've been focusing on rest of season rankings. I think they're all in a similar range, and it may be hard to get away from Tank Dell with what we've had over the past 2 weeks. Hayden says, trade Garrett Wilson. If so, what running back value can I get? I am very sorry. We've been screaming to sell Garrett Wilson for 2 weeks. It's too late now. Like, realistically speaking, it's very difficult for me to go through and say to sell a player that nobody wants. And I can tell you right now, there's not a single person in this live chat saying to buy low on Garrett Wilson. What you need is you need to send up a prayer that somehow the Jets get Kirk Cousins or get Ryan Tannehill or just get anybody in here. Eric says, I have Henry. Who would be some good running backs to target? I would love to get off of Derrick Henry for someone like Travis Etienne. Get me a younger running back that's in a 3-down offense and a better offense. I mean, a 3-down workload in a better offense. Jack just playing coming out says, rest of season, full PBR. Trade Devon Achane for Hollywood Brown. I'd rather have Devon Achane. I think there's more upside there. Now, Milad says, in need of a running back after Chubb going down. Out of my receivers, who would you be trading? Smith, Pittman, Keenan, or Kupp? And what running backs should we go for? Going to depend on the game that Devonta Smith has tonight. If it's another one of these like low volume passing, but at the same time, high touchdown scoring games that Smith's been giving us over the past 2 weeks, I think we'd be looking to go off of Smith. And in a full PPR format, we'd be looking to get over to Kenneth Walker, Travis Etienne, Jahmyr Gibbs. The usual suspects, if you will, for those RBs. Aiden coming out says, 1 and 2, 10-team PPR format, got offered Jacobs and Henry for Bijan Robinson. The roster's Mahomes, Bijan, Saquon, Mostert, Ayuk, Godwin, Hopkins, Addison, Andrews. If I stick with Bijan, is Mostert a sell high for a top wide receiver? I would sell Raheem Mostert if I could get to the range of wide receivers such as Chris Olave, Devonta Smith. Like if I can go over there, I probably will, just because the uncertain workload with Jeff Wilson Jr. and Devon Achane in the long term. And if we're looking at a 10-team league, Jacobs and Henry for Bijan, if it is a 10-team start 2 wide receiver 1 flex format, I actually probably keep the best player. Whereas if it's like start 3 wide receivers and multiple flexes where depth's going to matter a little bit more, then you can make the deal. Says, I need 53 points between Puka and a quarterback. I have Burrow. Play him or drop for someone like Stafford. Hunt, Kelly, and Jalen Warren would be the top options to drop. So the guy that we would drop out of this list would be Joshua Kelly. Maybe I'm a little bit salty. Maybe I'm a little bit burned, but I think he would be the move. If we are going for the highest ceiling possible, I think that both quarterbacks correlate with Puka, so I'm not really concerned with stacking per se. I believe Burrow has a higher ceiling than what we have with Matthew Stafford. I think he probably has a lower floor in this game as well, but if we're down 53, probably should be taking the ceiling. Tepsi says, what running back could we trade Laporta for? I have Kelsey. I don't think you're going to be able to get away trading Laporta for a running back straight up. Maybe you could get to Rachaad White. Maybe you could get to Kamara. Maybe you could get to James Cook. In reality, I think what you want to do is you want to be packaging Sam Laporta with another lesser running back on your roster to try to get up to one of those RBs. Misa says trade A.J. Brown for Gibbs and Andrews. I actually don't mind this deal. If it's a 2 wide receiver, 1 flex league, I don't mind it. 612I says, hey, Flock, I'm down 7 spots. Opponent has Rachaad White. I have Kyron Godwin. Happy BR, do I win? Also, bone in wings or boneless? I know this is, everybody spam the chat. Are you going bone in or boneless wings? This is a little bit more of a nuanced take. If we take cost outside of the question, like we take cost, we throw that into the wind. It doesn't matter with this hypothetical. Bone in wings are superior to boneless. However, if you consider the fact that bone in wings are very expensive, boneless are reasonable, typically I get boneless because they're cheaper. That's what I do. Now, of course, if it's like the spongy type chicken where it's like fake chicken, gross, it needs to be like the strips, like real breast meat. But anyway, honestly, I think we take it. If we're down 7, I think Kyron and Rachaad White are similar options this week, but I would take Godwin for more than 7 points this next week. So I think it's ours. Definitely not a guarantee, though. Robert says, would you trade Ridley and Walker for Saquon and Debo? Give me still Ridley over Debo. Still give me Saquon over Walker if it's a full PPR format. Very, very fair deal. I think it depends on the health of Saquon Barkley. Now, Tanner coming out says, quarterback, we have Allen. Running back, we have Etienne, Rachaad White, Austin Eckler, Raheem Mostert, Cam Akers, Kareem Hunt. Wide receiver, we have Adams, Keenan, DJ Moore, JSN, Kirk. Tight end, we have Darren Waller. 8-team league, any suggestions? Great team, my man. I would say at this point, once we're getting Eckler back this week, if you really wanted to see if we could go send like DJ Moore and Raheem Mostert and go get an elite level flex for the long term, I wouldn't fault you for that. I mean, I was going through and saying that Darren Waller was a sell high guy for us previously, but in reality, it's going to be very difficult to say to sell Darren Waller now, where it does seem like everybody's off of Waller. And I think that the Giants will be better and better matchups. Christian says 10-team 2-1. We survived the Kelly start. Still love you. Thank you, my man. Thank you. I'm still starting Zach Moss for Jacobs week 4. I'm thinking of it. We have Hurts, CMC, Moss, Devonta Smith, Puka, Amari, Ingram, Flock on, my man. Let me go ahead and let me look up what we have here with the matchups. Like I said, I mean, y'all know if you ask me on a Tuesday a player question, I have these matchups already memorized. We've already done a lot of thought in how we're ranking these players this next week. We have a big overall rest of season rankings update coming on flockfantasy.com. So haven't really looked at the matchups at all this week. You're going to have Zach Moss going up against the Los Angeles Rams. And you're going to have Josh Jacobs going up against the Los Angeles Chargers, where legitimately everybody has been able to run the ball. So I probably plan on Zach Moss. Now, considering the fact that it's week 3 is not even over by the time you're asking me this question, I reserve the right to change my mind later in the week. But if Jacobs is going up against the suspect Chargers rush defense, we probably go Jacobs. But ladies and gentlemen, we are 1 like away from hitting 300 likes on this live stream. Please, if you have not done so already, go down there, drop a like on the stream. We're doing everything we can to hit 200,000 subscribers before the season ends. And also, if you want to check out any of these pick'ems over on Underdog Fantasy, you can find that link in the live chat description, comment section, promo code FLOCK, 100% deposit match up to $500 on Underdog Fantasy, plus our updated rest of season fantasy football rankings and tiers. And on top of that, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to get a Joe Burrow special pick'em, more than less than half a total yard against the Los Angeles Rams tonight with promo code FLOCK. But our next switch coming out from KTA says, Puka, Chase, and Kyron Williams start 2 in a full PPR format. Full PPR, I go with the receivers. I go with Chase and Puka. Non-PPR format, I think you could swing me over to a running back. I do think that Kyron Williams, honestly, is more likely to score a touchdown than what you have with Puka. Now, Jeremiah says 2-1, 10-team non-PPR, 1 quarterback, 1 flex. We have Watson, Eckler, Jacobs, AJ, Waddle, Andrews, Mostert, Richardson, Brees, Madison, Pickens, Christian Watson. Any moves, trades, keep, sell, Mostert. Non-PBR format, I would actually probably be looking to sell him just because we want guys that are in elite level offenses. I think it's a phenomenal team. Really, there aren't many moves that I'd be looking to make. If we could go through and have a reasonable price tag for Lamar Jackson to stack with Mark Andrews in a non-PBR format, I'd love that. Like if we could go and sell maybe like Alexander Madison and Deshaun Watson and get to Lamar, I think that'd be a no-brainer. If we can make a move similar to that. Now, Joan coming out says 10-team full BBR, Swift for White tonight. So if you look at the underdog pick'ems that you have right now with these players, I mean, you currently have Rachaad White sitting with 10 fantasy points, 70 total yards. Whereas if you're looking at DeAndre Swift, you have DeAndre Swift for only 54.5 total yards. Full PBR format, I think you can go White, given the fact that White has a larger role as a receiver. Non-PBR format, I probably go with Swift, given the fact that he's in a better offense. Now, Ralph says 12-team PBR 3-0. Who to start at running back in a flex? We have Swift, White, Dell, Moss, Wilson, Myers. We also have JT. Thanks for the help. No, thank you, my man. I think next week you're most likely going to be looking to go Zach Moss and then one of the running backs between DeAndre Swift and Rachaad White, depending on what we get tonight, my man. Very hard to know how we're starting, guys, that especially running backs, obviously, where so much of it is based off opportunity that have not played week 3 yet. Now, Dr. Chatavius is coming out saying, PBR 10-team league, double flex. We have Lamar, Bijan, Swift, AJ Waddle, Hawkinson, Puka, Pacheco, Madison, Najee. Should I package players for an upgrade? Double flex league, depth's going to matter a little bit more. The only thing I'd say is if you can somehow find someone maybe that kind of has forgotten that, oh yeah, Cam Akers is going to probably split this backfield going forward. I mean, if we could somehow sell Alexander Madison with another player in the starting lineup and go get an upgrade somewhere, I think that would be interesting. But really, that'd be the only thing I have for you, my man. Now, Lewis says, we get running back. We have Jacobs and Rachaad White. We have Laporta on my bench and Andrews at tight end. Should I trade Laporta for a running back? And if so, who? Yeah, if you could go Laporta and then maybe like an RB3 and get up to James Cook, right? If we wanted to go Laporta and say Zach Moss, right? Who we're excited about right now, but maybe long-term, we don't exactly know what's going to happen. If you wanted to take those two guys and go get a running back that we are very excited about in the long term, like James Cook, I think you could 100% do that, my friend. Now, Augustin coming out says, 10-team at BBR, we have Hurts, Williams, Mostert, Higgins, Olave, Kelsey, Bijan. And then on the bench, we have Hopkins, Hunt, Ford, DJ Moore, Charbonnet, Tutu. Just traded Mostert and Moore for Eckler. Eckler owners desperate and 0-3. Oh my gosh, great move, my man. Way to take advantage of an 0-3 roster that needs points right now. Now that we move Eckler in and we sell that depth of DJ Moore as well, honestly, I think this team's ready to roll. I think you're in a phenomenal spot and really not looking to make too many moves from here. I mean, hell, we're starting Eckler and Bijan Robinson. I think Eckler, coming into the weekend, the reports were saying that he should be good to go week 4. Now, Ross Wong says, how much fab to drop for Joshua Palmer? 14-team format where we drop Allen Lazard. Keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, if you're listening to me answer this question, this does not apply to you in your 10-team league. In your 10-team league, you'll spend significantly less fab on Joshua Palmer. 14-team format, the waiver wire is not going to be as exciting going forward. 14-team format, I'd be willing to go up to like 30, maybe 35% on Palmer. 10-team league, less. 14-team format, I think you'd be a little bit more aggressive. The issue with Palmer, of course, is Quentin Johnson. Like, if Quentin Johnson was there, you could go all in. Tyler says, Burrow or Goff or Love if Burrow isn't healthy. I mean, very hard to say this for week 4, my man, when we have not seen Joe Burrow tonight. I mean, if you're telling me, Mason, come on, Burrow goes out there tonight. He has 0 touchdowns, 2 picks, clearly not healthy. At that point, I'd say they probably shut him down. But, I mean, if we're looking at Goff or Love, I'd go Goff over Love. Really hard to answer like Goff versus Burrow for week 4 when we really need to see how Burrow looks tonight. But let me swing this back over to the other page. And as I do this, if you have not done so already, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you play fantasy football. We're doing everything in our power to go through and hit 200,000 subscribers this season. Who knows if it will happen? I mean, we'll see. We'll see. Hopefully. Now, our next question coming out from, I believe, Chris. Oh, dear God. This is messed up bad, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, Chris says 10-team PBR format, 2 wide receivers in a flex. We have Herbert, Mixon, James Cook, Amon-Ra, DK, Goddard, Godwin. On the bench, we have Michael Thomas, Ertz, Gabe Davis, Khalil Herbert, Alvin Kamara, Deontay Johnson on the IR. Any moves? 2 wide receivers, 1 flex. Fundamentally, wide receiver depth's not going to matter. It's not like we're overloaded on wide receiver depth. Now, we are going to get Alvin Kamara back in soon. Overall, I don't really see any moves on this team. I think it's a team that's very much well constructed. The only thing I'd wonder is, like, how are we viewing Justin Herbert with no Mike Williams in this offense? But our next question coming out from Jesus says, we have Kenneth Walker and Michael Pittman for Brian Robinson and Calvin Ridley. What are your thoughts? Walker to Brian Robinson, clear downgrade. Pittman to Ridley, clear upgrade. I would rather have the running back production. I'd rather go on the Kenneth Walker side of things. Cal says non-PPR to fill the flex. Do I target a running back or receiver? We have Etienne, Gibbs, Adams, Hill as our starters. Trade bait is Rashad White, Garrett Wilson, Christian Kirk, Pat Freiermuth, James Cook, Damian Pierce. Should we go for Pierce, Kamara, Najee, Connor? I would say Connor's going to be a little bit more intriguing out of these guys. Keep in mind, you really want Kamara in a full PPR format, just given the usage that he has as a pass catcher is the reason that you're excited about him. But I would say usually in a non-PPR format, you would prioritize going after running backs for that flex spot, my man. Now, Laker Niner, always happy to see us, says 12-team at PPR format, 1 flex league. We have Lawrence Love, Ridley, Addison, Pickens, Dell, Tutu, Eckler, Kelly, Henry, Kamara, A-Chain, Jeff Wilson. Is Henry a bench for now since Kamara is back, along with Lawrence and Ridley and any trade possibilities? So we're going to be starting Lawrence over Love still. We're still going to be starting Ridley over Addison, Pickens, Dell, Tutu. We're most likely going to be starting Ridley and Addison. Running back, we're going to be going Eckler and Henry. And then we probably end up going Alvin Kamara in the flex. Honestly, this is a team that's very well balanced. Really, the only thing that we need is Kamara to come back, which will happen this week. Hopefully, Eckler to be healthy, which may happen this week. And then obviously the Lawrence and Ridley stack hitting. So no, I think that honestly, you are going to go ahead and you're still going to start Derrick Henry, even if we are worried about him. Now, Freddie says 14-team PBR double flex league. We have Watson, Stroud, Gibbs, Herbert, Spears, Kelly, Jefferson, Ridley, DJ, Puka, Watson, Jameson. We need a running back too. Any ideas? So typically, if it's going to be a 14-team double flex full PBR format, you're going to be better off playing 4 wide receivers on a week-to-week perspective with how expensive running backs will be overall. Our 4 receivers we're playing are Jefferson, Ridley, DJ, Puka. You can maybe slide Christian Watson in there, but still fundamentally, I mean, wide receiver depth's going to be equally very difficult to come by as your running back 2. So I agree. I think that we are a little lackluster at running back 2 here with Khalil Herbert being that guy. But if I'm going to be honest with you, this isn't like a 10-team league with 2 wide receivers, 1 flex. No, in this kind of format, you would actually rather punt running back 2 if we can load up on a ton of wide receivers we're excited about. Now, C. Diesel says 12-team PBR. We have Hurts, Stevenson, Jacobs, Hill, Allen, Goddard, Cooper. And then on the bench, we have London, Algier, Osborne, Gabe Davis, Gainwell, Zach Moss, Jalen Warren, Jeff Wilson. Should we drop London and Algier to go to the waiver wire? No one wants the pair to trade. You're not dropping Tyler Algier. I mean, if y'all remember, we had Tyler Algier as a sell-high guy earlier in this season. And the reason behind it was I was saying, okay, Tyler Algier has value, but his value is just as a premium handcuff running back if Bijan Robinson were to go down. If you're really desperate, then sure, you can start him. But in reality, you're not super pumped to get Tyler Algier in here any given week. So no, I think nothing's changed. I think that you still have Tyler Algier as that premium handcuff RB. And then if we're looking at Drake London, I understand the frustration. I understand why you would want to be moving on from him. But if I'm going to be honest with you, my man, I would still rather have Drake London as the number 1 option in the receiving game for the Atlanta Falcons versus, say, I mean, KJ Osborne as the number 4 option in the Minnesota Vikings receiving game. Now, Vincent says 12-team at BBR double flex league. We have Burrow and Baker. Receivers are Ridley, Ayuk, Tank Dell, MT, Bourne. Running backs are Bijan, Walker, JT, Roshan. We just got offered Bijan, Ridley for CMC. Should we do it? And then also Burrow or Baker tonight. Couple different things. Double flex league. I will say we're a little bit more inclined to go out there and take that package. The wide receiver depth like Ridley in this deal is actually going to make a fundamental difference where he is clearly a week-to-week starter on this team. But CMC is so far ahead of the rest of the pack in fantasy right now that honestly, I don't mind going through and buying Calvin Ridley, buying Bijan Robinson. I actually may like those guys as buys, but not with CMC. You hold on to CMC. And then between Burrow, Baker, I personally am going to be going with Joe Burrow over Baker Mayfield. I don't even want to put a little asterisk and say, oh, we're going to go with Burrow if we need the ceiling, Baker if we need the floor. No, I mean, fundamentally, if you look at the projections of these guys, at least if you go over and look at these underdog pick'ems, right? You do have Joe Burrow currently at 19 fantasy points. Whereas if you're going and looking at what you have with Baker Mayfield with these underdog pick'ems, you have Baker Mayfield currently down there at 14.05 fantasy points. Now, by no means am I saying that, oh yeah, no, that's definitely not going to work out. You definitely can't take the more than 14 fantasy points on Baker Mayfield. But just to give a sense of what the overall projections are for these guys, maybe you start Burrow and go take the more than 14 points for Baker Mayfield if you really are excited about him. And then, yeah, no, please keep the best player. Keep Christian McCaffrey. One of one says, how do you feel about starting Mostert and Devon A-Chain? I'm completely fine doing it this week. A little bit hesitant to do it when we get Jeff Wilson back. JC says, likely 0-3, 12-team BBR format. We have Burrow, Brian Robinson, Miller, Hunt, Amon-Ra, Chase, Tank, Dell, Higbee, Kamara, JT on the bench. Okay. We probably would have said this last week on an 0-2 team, but I think it remains true even now. If you could sell maybe Jonathan Taylor and another player like Tank Dell and just get an elite level option in here for that flex, that way we don't fall to 0-4, that would be a very advantageous move. I mean, if you're 0-3, you're still right in the mix. 2 wins and you're right there. Once you fall to 0-4, then it really is tougher to get there. Now, Zachary coming out saying, okay, actually we can swing this back to the other screen. So give me 1 second to move this back over so the questions look a little bit better for y'all. And as I move this back over, please, if you have not done so already, go down there, drop a like on this live stream, subscribe to the channel if you play fantasy football. We're going to be live streaming every single day until 2024. We have already live streamed every single day for 150 days in a row. And also, yeah, if you want to check out any of these pick'ems over on Underdog Fantasy, if you possibly want to go through and take Baker Mayfield out more than 14 fantasy points, you can find that link in the live chat, find in the description, find in the comment section. Promo code FLOCK is going to get you a 100% deposit match up to $500 with new Underdog accounts. Plus, new accounts will be getting a Joe Burrow special pick'em, more than less than half a total yard against the Rams tonight. And on top of that, ladies and gentlemen, you'll get our rest of season fantasy football rankings and tiers. But Zachary coming out with our next question says, Mason, 2-1, 16-team at PBR league. We lost Mike Williams. I've been starting both Kittle and Laporta. Now I need a running back wide receiver starter. Have any advice? I think that if you look at how damn good Laporta has been, you could go out there and you could look to sell one of the tight ends for either a running back or a wide receiver. I don't want to say, oh, you must sell Sam Laporta or you must sell George Kittle. I think you throw both of them out there on the trade block. And honestly, what I've had the most success with for years now is just being very upfront with trades, sending a message in your league chat saying, hey guys, I lost Mike Williams. I need some help at running back, wide receiver. I have 2 stud tight ends in Kittle, Laporta. I'm accepting offers for both. And then also take the initiative and go out there and see if we can find some teams that maybe need a tight end, right? Don't be sending offers to the Kelsey team. Ryan says, at BBR, drop one of Jalen Warren, Dalvin Cook, Roshan Sutton, or Kareem Hunt. I think Treylon Burks will probably be my drop. Really hard to see how Burks gets there with how bad this offense is. Brady coming out says, 10-team at BBR. We have Herbert, Adams, Chase, Lockett, Najee, Connor, Stevenson, Goddard. Who do I get and who do I in for who? So if you're looking at this team, we're great at receiver. I mean, running back's a little bit questionable. It's really hard to know without seeing the exact bench here, my friend. If you could go out there and send James Conner and another like a wide receiver like Tyler Lockett, if we could somehow go send Stevenson and Lockett, Connor and Lockett, Najee and Lockett, and get ourselves to Austin Eckler for the Justin Herbert stack, that'd make a lot of sense. Obviously, much easier said than done. Samir says trade Ayuk and London for Josh Jacobs. London is barely worth the roster spot at this point, so it's would I rather have Ayuk or Josh Jacobs? Probably would rather have Josh Jacobs, my friend. Carlos says, hey, Mason, I'm 0-3 and panicking. I have Lawrence and he's been sucking. Should I trade Bijan and Amon-Ra St. Brown and Richardson for Tua, Flowers, Stevenson, Mims, or should I hold off? Bijan to Stevenson, massive downgrade. Anthony Richardson to Tua, upgrade. Amon-Ra St. Brown to Zay Flowers, massive downgrade. And Marvin Mims is not going to move the needle. You definitely need to wait this out, my man. I understand why you'd be panicking. Yes, 0-3 is a horrendous spot to be in. We're still in it, though. But I think if you go through and trade away our two best players so we can get a marginal quarterback, I mean, get a quarterback upgrade, but not get Patrick Mahomes, it's probably a tough thing to justify, my friend. Now, Tepspeed coming out says, 12-team Happy BR, where we have Cousins, Herbert, Sanders, Hill, Adams, Ridley, Dallas, Godwin, Sky, Mitchell, Pirine, Atwell. Do I trade one of my main wide receivers? I would say if you were going to, it makes sense on a roster like this, where currently you're pretty damn weak at running back. Plan A for me, however, would be to take one of those more secondary wide receivers, take a player like DJ Moore, take a player like Tutu Atwell, and package him with Khalil Herbert to go get that upgrade at RB. James says, would you trade Mike Evans, Mostert, and Quentin Johnston for Keenan Allen in a Happy BR format? I mean, Quentin Johnston, waiver wire pickup, not a big deal one way or another. Would I rather have Evans and Mostert or Keenan Allen in a Happy BR league? Really does depend on your league settings as well as your roster. If it's a shallow format where you're saying Mostert's not going to make a difference for us at all, maybe you could go through and maybe you could go Keenan. Because, I mean, Keenan is going to be absolutely crushing. Just given the fact that not only do you have Eckler banged up, but now obviously you have no Mike Williams for the rest of the season. Now, Nerd coming out says, a full BBR, give Bijan for Mahomes and Kelsey. Yes, I would do this. I have Cousins, Richardson at quarterback, Ingram at tight end. Running backs are Bijan, Sanders, Eckler, JT. Yes, go ahead and do this, and then see if we can flip one of Cousins or Richardson. Ozzy says, full BBR, I'm down 42 points. My opponent doesn't have any players left, and I have my quarterback and flex spot left. Who do I start to secure the win? Burrow or Stafford, then Chase or Atwell? And I know I'm a crazy person for saying this. I get it. I would rather have Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase in my starting lineup than Matthew Stafford and Tutu Atwell. Call me an idiot. Make fun of me. I know Burrow and Chase have been so disappointing as of late, but fundamentally, we start our studs. I'm going to go Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase over Tutu Atwell, Matthew Stafford. California says trade Bijan and Amari or Olave for Jefferson and Gibbs. Amari to Gibbs, lateral move. Bijan to Jefferson, upgrade. I would go Bijan and Amari to Jefferson and Gibbs. I don't know if I'd go Bijan and Olave for Jefferson and Gibbs. 80 says, want to trade Henry. We have ETN 0-2 already. I would like to go through and trade Derrick Henry if it's a full PPR format. Full PPR format, given the involvement that you have from Tajah Spears, I think it makes sense. Big Route says, would you trade Mostert for Bijan? Oh, hell yes. Yes, I would. I would trade Mostert for either Bijan or Jacobs. I mean, if you were never going to have Jeff Wilson Jr. coming back in, or if Devon Achane was never going to expand his role, maybe you can make an argument for Mostert over Jacobs. He's crushed him this so far, but go get Bijan, my man. Axelon says, PBR got offered Hall for Damian Pierce. Should I take it? I actually will. I mean, fundamentally, y'all know we've been screaming to go through and sell Breece Hall for quite some time. Literally the second that Aaron Rodgers went down, even after Breece Hall had the great game. But if you look at how bad Zach Wilson is here, can they actually go through and throw Zach Wilson out the entire season? Or will there be a tipping point where at some point they say, okay, yeah, we got to trade for Cousins. We got to trade for Tannehill. If they make any move at quarterback, it will be a significant upgrade over what they have currently. So Hall versus Pierce, I will take the long-term upside of Hall to maybe see if his situation changes. Cody, happy to see it. My man says, league vetoed a trade on Saturday. Gibbs, Mike Williams, Reynolds for A.J. Brown. Why the hell would that get vetoed? That's just BS. Do I trade a running back, Pollard, Etienne, James Cook, Gibbs, Ford, to pair with Pickens and grab a receiver? Out of these running backs, I don't think Jerome Ford's ever going to make a difference for you. Jerome Ford's very clearly the running back 5 on this roster. Ford was very good this week, but he had 10 carries and 18 rushing yards. Jerome Ford got there off of 2 touchdowns. If the touchdowns aren't there, really don't know how reliable Ford will be going forward. And keep in mind at the same time, you had Cremont on a snap count. I think that Hunt may expand his role slightly in this offense as well. So if you could go Ford and George Pickens to go get a wide receiver you're more excited about, not going to fault you at all for that, my friend. Now, real quick, we are 1 like away from hitting 500 likes on this live stream, ladies and gentlemen. Please go down there, drop a like on the stream. We're doing everything we can to hit 200,000 subscribers this season. We have live streamed for 150 days in a row. Gonna stream every day until 2024. And of course, if you want to check out any of these pick'ems over on Underdog Fantasy, you can find that link in the live chat, find it in the description, find it in the comment section. Promo code FLOCK, 100% deposit match up to $500 on new Underdog accounts. Plus, you're going to be getting a Joe Burrow special pick'em, more than less than half a total yard against the Rams tonight, and our rest of season fantasy football rankings and tiers. But moving this over, let's find our next question. Thomas coming out says, 0-3, 10-team BBR format. We have Fields, Gibbs, Walker, Charbonnet, Swift, Kyron Williams, Jalen Warren, wide receiver, St. Brown, Garrett Wilson, Watson, Dotson, Dell. Just traded Garrett Wilson and Swift for Waddle. What are your thoughts? 0-3 format, very difficult to go through and trade for an injured player. That's the first thing I'll say. I do like the overall idea, and I do like picking up CJ Stroud off the waiver wire here if we have Justin Fields currently. I really do like Jalen Waddle. Obviously, a lot's going to depend on what does DeAndre Swift look tonight in a game that also has Kenneth Gainwell. Now, Carlos coming out says 14-team BBR format. 2 wide receivers, double flex. We have Lamar, Goff, Madison, Roshan, Warren, Chase, Waddle, Addison, Puka, Myers, Burks, Laporta, and Njoku. We lost Dobbins. What do you recommend we do for the team? Upgrade at running back or wide receiver. 14-team, 2 wide receiver double flex where we can start to 4 wide receivers on a week-to-week perspective. This is not one of those formats where we want to take wide receiver depth and go through and make a 2-for-1 deal to upgrade at the running back 2 slot. We're trying to exploit, say, 10-team leagues with 2 wide receivers, 1 flex spot when we go through and make that move. Here instead, we want to build around receiver. We have Chase, we have Waddle, we have Addison, we have Puka. We have 4 guys that we can start every single week. At running back, obviously we're weak here. I would say the only thing is possibly if we could go out there and trade Jared Goff and a running back to the Justin Fields team to get a slightly better running back upgrade, or maybe trade say, Sam Laporta for a great running back if you wanted to do that, and then play David Njoku / waiver wire tight ends. That'd be really the only thing is. I'd say specifically in a 14-team format where you can start up to 4 wide receivers, there you actually kind of want to be holding on to that wide receiver depth. Angel says, drop Deshaun Watson for Matthew Stafford. Also, pineapple on pizza. Okay, first off, I will say yes. I'm sorry, we would rather have Deshaun Watson over Matthew Stafford. I think Watson has a little more rushing upside as well. And second off, can everybody spam the chat? Pineapple on pizza, yes or no? I would not go out of my way and order pineapple on pizza. But if it was on pizza, I would eat it. That's my take of the situation. And let's see what people are going. Yes, no, yes, no, yes. And I worked as a pizza delivery driver for some time in college too. Yes, 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 no, no, yes, yes. Yes, no, yes, yes. Interesting. It seems like we're a little bit split here, but we now have to go and pull the questions back up on the other screen because we decided to scroll to the bottom of the chat here. So let me do that. And yeah, I would still rather have Deshaun Watson over Matthew Stafford. Stafford's a great real life quarterback, but for fantasy purposes, it's very difficult to get excited about someone like that who just simply has no rushing upside. Okay. So let's move this around. Young Gun Media says, what wide receiver can we get with Ford and Kirk or Ford and Judy? I would actually look to sell Kirk before I'd sell Judy. And if you wanted to go Ford and Christian Kirk, if you could go and get to the Devonta Smith, get to the Chris Olave, get to the Jalen Waddle range, I'd really like that. Now, Melvin says 10-team at BBR 3 wide receiver format. 1-1, down 15 points. We're starting Etienne, Kyron Williams, Jefferson, Pittman, Puka, James Conner, Harris, Warren, Watson, Judy, Myers. Any traits? Okay, so essentially we're banking on Puka for tonight to get us that 15. I mean, half BBR format's going to probably be a little bit tougher. 3 wide receiver league, I actually really like this team where we're built around wide receiver a little bit more. I mean, I will stand by the fact that I think long-term, especially as Cooper Kupp comes back in, if we somehow manage to go out there and make a deal where we sense possibly, I don't know, like Puka for A.J. Brown, Puka for Devonta Smith, Puka for Chris Olave. I still stand by that kind of move, but overall, I think it's fine, my man. I think it's fine. One second, ladies and gentlemen. I have another interview I got to schedule. Okay, so now our next question coming out from IB Next says, Joe Burrow or Baker Mayfield, blue cheese or ranch, and don't say ranch. Everybody spam the chat. Are you going blue cheese or ranch with your wings? I'm definitely going to go Joe Burrow over Baker Mayfield. You look at the underdog pick'ems, they only have Baker Mayfield at 14 points in comparison to Joe Burrow at like 19. And spam the chat, ranch or blue cheese. I'm easily going ranch here. Okay. Now, G Hungry says, should trade away Zach Moss for Josh Jacobs. I would rather have Jacobs in the long term. I would. Ranch. Yeah, my man, you're outkicked here. Most people are going ranch with their wings over blue cheese. You're outkicked. I am from Texas, though, so pretty sure blue cheese is a bigger deal in the north, unless I'm mistaken. Montel says 12-team BBR format. Trade Adams for Jacobs and Ingram. No. I know we have a bad tight end. I know we have elite level wide receivers, but no, you have to keep Devontae Adams. If you were selling Devontae Adams, you need a bigger premium. What? How many points did Adams score last night? 44? Adams dropped 44, unless I'm mistaken. Now, our Gravy says, Fields owner, are we going to go Russ or CJ Stroud rest of season? This will actually help me out because as I was updating my rest of season rankings on Underdog Fantasy, I have Stroud and Russ close together. I thought I made a difficult decision to put CJ Stroud ahead of Russell Wilson in our rest of season rankings. Can everybody spam the chat? 4-point passing touchdown format. Are you going to go Russ or CJ Stroud rest of season? We are going to go Higgins over Godwin, my friend. Country Connected says, dude, I'm scoring 211 before Mixon plays tonight. Watson, Mixon, Mostert, Ramondre, Jefferson, St. Brown. Oh my gosh. And no, my man, you do not need to make a move. You're going to drop 230 points this week. That's freaking nuts. CJ. See, yeah, it looks like everybody going CJ Stroud as well. I mean, that's what we did on flogfantasy.com. You'll probably see those rankings get updated on the site tonight, but I thought that was a little bit of a tougher call than that. It looks like y'all made an easy decision there with Stroud. Griffin says 3 wide receivers, 2 running backs, and a flex. We have Allen, Lamb, AJ Lockett, Moore, Bijan, Javonte, Pierce, Kittle, Laporta. Should we package Kittle for a running back? If so, who? Currently 1 and 2. I mean, Kittle was a buy low guy for us last week before. He did have a good game on Thursday night. I mean, if you wanted to then flip him and sell him high, you can. If you wanted to go Kittle and Javonte Williams and go get maybe Travis Etienne, go get Kenneth Walker, you can do it. I do like Kittle, though. Mason says, how would a Kirk Cousins trade affect Justin Jefferson? It would be very bad for Justin Jefferson. You can make an argument Kirk Cousins maybe is not a great real life quarterback in terms of leading to wins. I know there are a couple, there are some diehard Kirk Cousins fans. There are some people that hate Kirk Cousins as well. I'm very neutral in the situation. I think Kirk Cousins probably doesn't make a team a Super Bowl contender, while at the same time he scores a crap ton of fantasy points for the wide receivers in his offense. So Cousins leaving Minnesota would be a very bad thing. Would be very bad for Jefferson. Now, M. Vetter says, happy BR 10-team league. We have Dak, Burrows, St. Brown, Chase, Evans, Kirk, Hopkins, Gibbs, Javonte, Hall, Gus, Laporta. Should we trade Evans for Jacobs and Atwell? 1 and 2, we need help in any other running back trades. Specifically, if this is our wide receiver room where we have Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jamar Chase, I am fine if we wanted to go through and do this. I would trade Evans for Jacobs. I'd look for a better receiver than Atwell, though. Now, Colton says, Puka Nacua or Devonta Smith for tonight. If you look at our rankings, we have these guys pretty much back-to-back. Let's go through and let's look at where they have them on Underdog for the pick'ems. I pointed out last night, as well as this morning, the Puka Nacua they had him only at 64.5 total yards for today. I was saying, oh yeah, he's definitely going higher than that. Looks like a lot of people took the higher than 64.5, so they moved him up to 75.5 tonight against the Cincinnati Bengals. He's also at 12.5 fantasy points. If you look at where they have Devonta Smith, you currently have Smith currently at 12.25 fantasy points. I would say non-PPR format, you probably give me Smith in the touchdown upside. If you were playing in a full PPR format, you probably take Puka given the passing volume or target volume. Trevor says 0-2, probably 0-3. One flex league. We have Herbert, Ramondre Sanders, Jefferson, Chase, Devonta, Pitts. On the bench, we have Kyron, Kirk. What move should I? Okay, so if this is the situation where we are about to be 0-3, everything is about this next week. I mean, you could still go through and you can still win your fantasy football championship. I won my first fantasy football championship starting off 1-4. It's possible, but once you get to that record, you need to change your mindset in that every game for you is a playoff game. So if we could take maybe Christian Kirk and his hot starts over the past 2 weeks, send him with Kyle Pitts to go get a long-term upgrade at tight ends, that'd be a no-brainer. Afi says 18 full BBR. We're 3-0. Hell yes, my man. We're rocking Lamar, Kirk Cousins, Tyreek, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Amari, Michael Pittman, Lockett, MT, Barkley, Walker, Ramondre, Moss, Kyron, Warren, Big Hawkinson. Any moves? Honestly, not really. If you wanted to take maybe a wide receiver like Amari, and I loved Hawkinson coming into the season. And I actually really liked Amari as well. I got a lot of heat. We ranked Amari over Ridley coming into the year, and I will stand by. That was probably a wrong thing to do. But two guys I really like, if you want to sell them high, if you want to go Amari and Hawkinson, if we could get to Travis Kelce in an 18 format, I would love that. If it's possible, that is. Now, Devin Stater coming out says, what's up, Mason? Over 1,200 watching and only 300 likes. Everybody stop what you were doing and smash the like button. It's the least we can do for the go. No, appreciate you so damn much, my man. And yes, if you have not done so already, please go down there, drop a like on this live stream. Subscribe to the channel if you play fantasy football. We're doing everything we can to hit 200,000 subscribers before this season starts. And of course, if you want to check out any of these pick'ems over on Underdog Fantasy for the games tonight, you can find that link in the live chat. You can find the link in the comment section, the link in the description. Promo code FLOCK, 100% of pods match up to $500, plus our updated rest of season fantasy football rankings and tiers. And on top of that, ladies and gentlemen, a Joe Burrow special pick'em, more than less than half a total yard going up against the Baltimore Ravens. But let's move this over. I believe our next question coming out from Christian says, would I be overexposed having Jalen? No, I love the double stack. There's an 0-2, 0-3 team with Chase, A.J. Brown. Going to try to make moves or depending on how the night goes. Obviously, depending on how the night goes, but I'm completely fine having Hurts, A.J. Brown, and Devonta Smith on the same team. It's going to raise your floor, lower your ceiling. You're definitely going to be a lot more correlated. but you're essentially going to be making one big bet. I believe the Philadelphia Eagles offense will be elite. If that happens, then you're going to crush. Now, KO says, have BBR 12-team 1 flex league. We have Lawrence, Ridley, Amari, Bijan, Jacobs, Musk, Puka, Zay, Watson, London, Warren, JT. Anything we can do to improve? Honestly, no. Really, we just need Jacobs to be better. He's playing the Chargers this week. I'm excited about that matchup. Also, we need Lawrence, Ridley to be better as well. I mean, obviously, Lawrence has struggled. But yeah, we're about to get JT back. I think it's a fine team and will be better going forward. BetClip says, start 2, AJ Brown, Puka, and Mike Evans. We need 33. I am going to go with Puka and AJ Brown. I would love to hear what y'all have to say in the live chat. If it's a full BBR format, I think AJ Brown and Puka also get you 33, my man. I think they get you 33. Eduardo says, about to be 2-1. Hell yes, my man. We traded Lawrence, Kyron, St. Brown, and Kincaid for Chase. So going from St. Brown to Chase upgrade. Burrow, Lawrence to Burrow lateral move. Stafford, who the hell cares, and Algier. So we essentially traded Kyron Williams to upgrade from St. Brown to Jamar Chase. Team is now Stafford, Bijan, Swift, Chase, Evans, Ferguson, Nico, Zach Moss. With this kind of depth, I'm completely fine with this move. I will say it will be interesting if you wanted to go through and start Burrow. I do like having at least one more quarterback for the time being until we know Burrow's for sure fully healthy. But obviously, everything hinges with the health of Joe Burrow in this Bengals passing offense. Now, Paz coming out says 10-team BBR double flex. We have Lawrence, Henry, Etienne, Hill, Scary Terry, Andrews, Mostert, Swift. Was thinking about trading Mostert and DJ Moore for Devonta Smith. We have Montgomery on the bench. I personally would do it. Obviously, Mostert has absolutely crushed. Just my thought process is, if you're looking at Raheem Mostert, this is a running back that's maybe in a little bit of an awkward spot once you add in, a very, I don't want to say question, a very uncertain player in Jeff Wilson Jr., which we don't know what's going to be happening. Now, Colin says 12-team BBR, 2 wide receivers and a flex. We have Watson, Etienne, Walker, Jefferson, Higgins, and Njoku Kelly. On the bench, we have Lockett, Dillon, MT, Chark, Warren, Spears. Trying for trades at quarterback or tight ends. What should we make? Maybe Darren Waller for tight end. If you could send maybe like David Njoku and Tyler Lockett for Darren Waller at this point, I think that'd make a lot of sense. And this is honestly coming from someone who really didn't like Darren Waller coming into the season. Like, I would love to come out here and say, oh, ha, 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 I told everybody. In reality, that's probably not the case. In reality, Waller is probably going to be pretty good going forward. I mean, he's just played the 49ers and the Cowboys. So I'm fine keeping Watson, but I do like the idea of let's take Lockett, let's take Njoku, and let's see if we can go get a player like Waller. Now, the Cargars are coming out and says 2-1, team down bad. It's a 12-team double flex, full BBR format where we have Fields, Saquon, Jones, Spears, Charbonnet, Hunt, Smith, Lamb, London, Bourne, Dobbs, Davis, JSN, Ingram. Should we sit and wait any moves? And who should we be starting? So I would look to pick up a quarterback so we can start someone over Justin Fields. I mean, you're 2-1. I'd say maybe it would be 3-0 without Justin Fields on this team. But it's super impressive that you were 2-1 with Fields, with Barkley getting injured, with Aaron Jones getting injured. When we get these running backs back, hopefully this next week will be a great team. Really, the only thing that I think we want to do is go ahead, let go of a depth wide receiver like Kendrick Bourne, go to the waiver wire and see if we can pick up another quarterback that we can play over Justin Fields. Now, Best Man Podcast coming out saying, started Fields over Tua for 3 straight weeks. Wanted to see what Fields could do. Does he have any trade value? I am very sorry. You're not going to get a bag of potato chips for Justin Fields. It's a 12-team BBR format where we have Waddle, Chase, Olave, Pacheco, Brees Hall, Komet. Good news is we have Tua to start. Bad news is, I'm sorry, my man. You got to bench Fields. You're not going to be able to trade him for anything. You can try. You're just not going to be able to. Anthony says 10-team Happy BR where we have Hurts, Walker, Connor, Ridley, Ayuk, Puka, Kelsey. And then on the bench, we have Richardson, Laporta, DK, JSN, Pierce, Hunt. Any suggestions? Love the team. The only thing I'd say is if you wanted to take maybe like Connor and Anthony Richardson and see if we can trade them to a Justin Fields team, a Deshaun Watson team, and get an elite level running back in the long term, that could be interesting. Because we have Jalen Hurts and Anthony Richardson looks great, of course. Now, Oscar coming out says, we need help. What to do with the team? We're 0-3 in a 10-team full BBR format where we have Fields, Richardson. Thank God we have Richardson. Bijan, Gibbs, Ford, Hall, Warren, Jefferson, Waddle, London, Dotson, Shaheed, Darren Waller. I think Waller will be better going forward. I think Bijan, Gibbs are going to continue to expand their roles as rookies. I mean, you're not going to get any value for Breece Hall. I'm not going to do any favors telling you to sell him now. And then wide receiver, I think you're going to get Waddle back and healthy this next week. I actually think there's nothing wrong with this team outside of some bad injury luck, outside of some bad Darren Waller games based off of horrendous matchups, and obviously the elephant in the room being Justin Fields. Now, Tristan coming out says 10-team BBR format where we have Hurts, Mostert, White, Jefferson, Amari, Dallas Goedert, Eckler, Terry McLaurin with Deshaun Watson, Jerry Jeudy, Devon Achane, Tank Dell as notable bench pieces. Any opinions? So I would like to pivot off Terry McLaurin in that flex spot if we can. The issue is we're not going to be able to get anything for Terry McLaurin through trade. So really the only thing I'd say is, I mean, if you wanted to just bench Terry McLaurin for the time being, go through and play someone like Devon Achane or Jerry Jeudy, and then see if we get a Terry McLaurin or Jerry Jeudy spike then at that point, maybe we can package together one of those players and then another bench option to get a flex option that we like in the long term. I think that'd be interesting, but I mean, it should be a very good team. If we've been starting Raheem Mostert, I mean, there's a good chance that we're 2-1, 3-0. Now, Ibrahim says Kittle, Amon-Ra, Etienne, Dotson for Bijan, Andrews, Ayuk, and Ridley. So Andrews over Kittle, Bijan over Amon-Ra, Etienne over Ayuk, Ridley over Dotson. I think we want to go with the Bijan side. I think the Bijan side as the best player, and honestly, maybe a couple of the best pieces. Now, Uncle Isaac says, would you trade Evan Ingram for Mark Andrews? Yes, I would. I'm not even a big Andrews guy. Now, Brooks says 12-team half PPR. We traded Pollard, Smith, and Gabe Davis for CMC and Christian Watson. Give me Watson over Gabe Davis, Pollard and Smith versus Christian McCaffrey. Give me CMC. Beautiful move. Severe lacking wide receivers now. Jeudy and Watson are my starters. Running back core is crazy with Bijan and CMC. Thoughts on who won the deal? I mean, I understand why we had to go through and make this deal because you were just getting so much damn value. And yeah, let's just go with the waiver wire, see if we can pick up some wide receivers with upside. I think Jeudy and Watson do have upside, though. Freddie says, flex Kyron or Mike Evans. Probably got to go Kyron Williams now. Smash that like, boys. Mason, keep being gnarly. Flock fam, appreciate you as always, my man. And yes, hit that like button if you have not done so already. We will go Kyron Williams. Now, Eduardo. Oh, yeah, that doesn't affect our opinions on the trade at all. You're in a great spot. Now, Austin says 0-3 and tanking. Keep Barkley or trade for picks. If you are tanking in Dynasty, you trade pretty much any non-rookie running back that you have for picks. We don't have that much running back depth. It doesn't matter. You're tanking. You want to earn the 101, and you want to be able to go and take Marvin Harrison Jr. next year. Najee's my second running back. We're essentially getting offered a future first and second. If you are tanking, you want a future first and second over Saquon Barkley in Dynasty. Now, produced by Ed says, full BBR 12-team league where we're 2-0. We have Hurts, Jones, Pacheco, Chase, AJ, and Njoku. The flex, we have Ayuk. Do I target a better running back or tight ends? It would be nice if you had the wide receiver depth where we could go through and trade Pacheco and a wide receiver like Ayuk to go upgrade at RB2. It's just very difficult for me to say that with confidence without seeing your bench where maybe we don't have the depth here where that move makes sense. Seavert says Higgins, Olave, Watson, and Deontay. Or Olave, Watson, Gibbs, and Deontay. I already have CMC and Pollard. So Higgins versus Olave. Or Olave's on both sides. Let's take him out. Christian Watson's on both sides. Let's take him out. Deontay's on both sides. Let's take him out. Would I rather have Jahmyr Gibbs or T. Higgins where we already have CMC and Pollard? I understand you have enough running back production as is. But I'll say if you were looking at the landscape of the running back position right now, I would rather have Gibbs, and if you were to sell him, I'd want a larger premium. Ryan says, if no Burrow, do we start Stafford or Baker? Thanks, sir. Appreciate you, my man. Burrow will play. We just got the report, and we are going to go Stafford over Baker. Logan says, Waddle for Chase. I already have Higgins. I love Waddle, but I like Chase more. We'll take Chase. Sean says, have BBR 3 receivers. We have Ramondre, Barkley, Swift, Montgomery, A-Chain, Spears, Roshan. My receivers are Ayuk, Davis, Moore, Tell, Dotson. Should I trade Saquon for Waddle? So obviously a league where you have to start 3 wide receivers. Wide receivers are going to be inherently a little more valuable. But no, you want Saquon Barkley. It sounds like Saquon Barkley should be good to go. Dawson, I've seen you in the chat spamming this, my man. Favorite underdog pick for tonight, Warren, huge cash by a half yard last night. Well, congrats on your Jalen Warren hit last night, my man. I like a couple different ones. Y'all know the pick'ems that we were showing y'all in the videos earlier today and last night that I liked. I like Mike Evans for more than 4 receptions. They moved that up to 4.5 receptions, so now I'm actually going to be staying away. Mike Evans does not have any yards after the catch. I mean, literally since 2014. I actually don't mind Mike Evans for fewer than 13.5 yards after the catch. Evans essentially just catches the ball and falls down. I also don't mind Tutu Atwell for fewer than 58.5 total yards. I mean, they have Tutu Atwell at 58.5 total yards versus if you look at where they have Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. They have Chris Godwin at 53.5 receiving yards. They have Tutu Atwell projected for more than Godwin. So I think my favorite pick'em for tonight is going to be the fewer than total yards on Tutu Atwell. I don't know. Maybe I'm a Tutu Atwell hater. I don't know. 58.5 yards seems crazy if you're projecting him over Evans and Godwin. And let me pull this back up. And of course, if you want to check out any of this pick'ems on Underdog Fantasy, you can find that link in the live chat, find in the description, find in the comment section. Promo code FLOCK, 100% deposit match up to $500. Plus, you're going to be getting our rest of season fantasy football rankings and tiers available in damn near every state. And you also have a Joe Burrow special pick'em, more than less than half a total yard. But I want the live chat to answer this. Jamar asking, drop Justin Fields for CJ Stroud. We already have Anthony Richardson. So if you have Richardson, who would you rather have as your QB2 here? Would you rather have Justin Fields or CJ Stroud, ladies and gentlemen? I updated my rest of season ranking. I'm working on updating my rest of season rankings on flockfantasy.com. I believe I have Justin Fields right now currently around like QB 14 and maybe CJ Stroud around like quarterback 15, 16. I will say, obviously, Stroud, a way better real-life quarterback, but this fantasy where rushing upside matters. And everybody's saying that they would rather have CJ, essentially. We have a couple Fields fans still out here, but overwhelmingly, people are saying CJ Stroud over Justin Fields. Okay. Ryan says, most likely 0-3 after this week. We think we need a quarterback and a tight ends. We have Fields, CMC, Ramondre, Olave, Higgins, London, Montgomery, Dotson, Tutu, Pirine, Ford, Schultz, Reed. Any suggestions? I would actually kind of find punting tight end is just actually streaming and going through and playing the matchups. However, at quarterback, I would like to go out there and upgrade if we can. So if we can take someone like Jerome Ford and go send him to maybe the Nick Chubb team, right? A team that really needs a running back. If we can somehow bring in like Anthony Richardson, I think that'd make a lot of sense and play Anthony Richardson there. Or if you wanted to go get like a top 4 quarterback, if you want to send like Ramondre for Allen, we would do that. Now, AD says my running backs are Etienne and Derrick Henry. Want to trade Henry away? Who should we target? You're not going to get a ton if you look to trade away Derrick Henry right now. Let me pull up my rest of season rankings here for you, my friend, and give you a decent idea of what we are ranking Derrick Henry around, at least at the running back position. And maybe y'all can help me in the live chat right now. Go through and maybe make these a little bit more accurate. Because, you know, I really do value your opinion in the live chat. 99% of y'all know significantly more than I do. I currently have Derrick Henry ranked at RB9. I have him back-to-back with Joe Mixon. Who would you rather have rest of season? Would you rather have... Actually, let's do this one. Would you rather have Jonathan Taylor or Derrick Henry? Jonathan Taylor or Derrick Henry? Ladies and gentlemen, please let me know. Okay. We got JT Henry, JT Henry, JT, 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 JT. So looks like maybe that's the guy we're going for, my man. If you're a roster where you can afford to maybe not have running back production this week, as long as you're not like 0-3, maybe that's the way we're going. Now, Tyler coming out says 10-team at BBR format where we're 2-1. We have Allen, Henry, Connor, Madison, Hunt, Tyreek, AJ, Lockett, Watson, Myers, London, Andrews. Do I trade Henry for Pollard, Jacobs, Etienne, etc.? I would 100% trade. I would add something to Derrick Henry to get to Tony Pollard. I trade Derrick Henry for Travis Etienne. Josh Jacobs kind of going to be up to you. Obviously, both running backs struggling. I will probably have Derrick Henry ranked behind Josh Jacobs in my rankings this week, but that's just because Josh Jacobs has a great matchup going up against the Chargers, where the Chargers' rush defense can even make Alexander Madison look good. Okay. But now our next question, and actually we're going to have to pull this up. As I do this, please, if you have not done so already, go down there, drop a like on this live stream, ladies and gentlemen. Subscribe to the channel. We have live stream for 150 days in a row. We are not stopping until 2024, trying to do everything that we can to hit 200,000 subscribers. Hit that like button, subscribe, and yeah, I think that we should have this pulled up already. Alex Sawgrass Real Estate, happy to see you, my man, coming out saying, what's up, my guy? We have Burrow, Geno. Should we drop Geno for Jordan Love? Honestly, the Seahawks have had back-to-back games with 37 points. We probably look to actually keep Geno Smith. Want to have the best backup possible for Burrow. And any moves we should make with the team where we have Burrow, Pollard, Walker, Mostert, Montgomery, JJ, Puka, Goddard, Laporta. If you could go approach a team that maybe drafted like Kyle Pitts, maybe a team that really needs a tight end, and send them like Dallas Goedert and Puka to get up to. I mean, I've seen people trade Puka straight up for Chase. You go like Puka and Goddard and get Chase, get A.J. Brown, go get Chris Olave. I would like that for the long term because it does look like Sam Laporta is someone that we can start every week. Ryan says, Love also on waivers. Worth the plug-in over Fields. I would probably rather have Jordan Love in my starting lineup over Justin Fields this week, assuming Aaron Jones and or Christian Watson's good to go. Shadowbow says, just saw your last video. Agree about Derrick Henry, but I'm clueless what to go in for with the trade. Any suggestions? We have Watson, Henry, Mixon, Amari, Jefferson, Hawkinson, Swift, Watson, Thomas, and Hunt. This is the perfect example where a trade that you're sending Derrick Henry and getting back Jonathan Taylor would probably work out, right? Where you could still go through and start this next week, Joe Mixon and DeAndre Swift, and really not have to stress about not having a running back starter. So I think the move would be like sending Derrick Henry, getting back a running back like Travis Etienne. If you can't get to Etienne, maybe going and getting a suspended, or not a suspended player on the IR like Jonathan Taylor. Now, Blake says trade Mostert to Mike Evans for Barkley and Watson. I would rather have Barkley and Watson with Jeff Wilson Jr. possibly coming in. Joe says 12-team full BBR format, 0-3. I'm panicking over here. What do? We have Burrow, Chase, Puka. How do you know if you're 0-3 if we have Burrow, Chase, Puka? Did we just play the entire Miami Dolphins team? Nico, Mixon. Yeah, we even have Mixon here. You have 4 players yet to go. This is a great team, assuming Burrow's healthy. Like, I don't think you did anything wrong building this team. We went all in with the Cincinnati Bengals stack, my man. You've gotten very unlucky for the health of Joe Burrow, of course. It's not like we can just turn around and now sell these Bengals players for 50 cents on the dollar or we have no shot. Really, the only shot we have is to sit on our hands and set up a prayer that Burrow can be fully healthy and can be good to go. Now, Ian says 12-team PPR, going to be 3-0, where we have Watson, Pollard, Jacobs, Chase, Keenan, Ingram, Evans. And then on the bench, we have McLaurin, Addison, Brian Robinson, Algier, Judy, Hunt. Worth trading Jonathan Taylor or Kupp or any other moves. 3-0 roster, I would love to do it, my friend. If we could go through, if we could send Brian Robinson and maybe a depth wide receiver like Terry McLaurin and go get either Cooper Kupp or Jonathan Taylor, I think that would make a ton of sense. I mean, fundamentally, we're trying to trade those guys down there on the bench in a 2-for-1 deal where it's not even going to negatively impact us in the short term. Just going to give us some more long-term upside, which is what we want on a 3-0 roster. Austin says, happy VR, where we lost Chubb. We have Cook, Mostert, Herbert, A-Chain, Kelly, and Debo, Ridley, Wilson. Streaming quarterback tight end. Should we sell the Miami running backs for a quarterback, tight end, or a flex? I would say not for a flex, especially as we don't have a running back too that we can be confident about. I would hold on to the Miami running backs unless we get a very strong deal on a quarterback with a lot of upside. That would be the only thing I'm looking at here, my man. Johnny says, who should I trade Derrick Henry for? What are some options? Full PBR. Travis Etienne, if we need production right now. Jonathan Taylor, if we're just thinking for the long term, my man. Go Bill says, got to make room for Kamara. The bench is Davis, Sanders, Hollywood, Hopkins, Godwin, Richardson. Other quarterback is Justin Fields. Gabe Davis would be the drop out of those running backs receivers. I wouldn't mind at all if you wanted to drop Justin Fields, though. If Richardson's good to go and you wanted to cut Fields, not going to fault you for it. Shadow says we traded Derrick Henry, DJ Moore, Devon A-Chain for Bijan and Njoku. Njoku doesn't really matter. Yes, phenomenal deal for Bijan Robinson. Obviously, if Devon Achane does take over as the starting running back in Miami, then probably not. But I like moving off of Henry and getting to Bijan. Patrick says, 14-team at BBR League, where we have Robinson, Moss, Brees, Gibson, Algier, JT, Chase, Judy, Gabe, Reed, Dell, Henry, Musgrave. Currently 0-3. Any moves I should look to make? 0-3, everything is about winning this week. We talked about this early on in the live stream, but my first fantasy football championship I ever won, I started off 1-4, and that was in a 16-game season, not a 17-game season. So it's a little harder. But once you fall behind the 8-ball like that, pretty much every game for you is a playoff game. You can probably afford, especially in a 14-team league, only 3 to 4 more losses rest of season if you want to have a shot to make the playoffs. So from here on out, you probably have to go like 7-3, 7-4, 8-3, something around that ballpark. So if we were looking to make a move, I think maybe in this league where we're fighting for our lives, I would have said this last week if this team was 0-2, this is probably the team where we have to turn around. We actually have to be sellers of Jonathan Taylor to get some points in right now. Thomas says, are we worried about Waddle's health moving forward? No, players have concussions all the time, my friend. I mean, obviously, from a humanitarian perspective, yes, I am worried. But from a fantasy football perspective, no. Honey Badger says, standard 12-team full BBR, where we have Watson, Jacobs, Gibbs, Evans, Chase, Henry, Puka. And then on the bench, we have Sutton, Gabe Davis, Kyron Williams, Jalen Warren, Madison, Stafford. Any moves? If we could somehow swindle someone and send Madison and Hunter Henry and get a tight end that we really like in return, let's go ahead and let's do it. I do think that Madison will be in the committee with Akers moving forward. And I will say, side note as well, don't love just having Stafford here as a QB2. Rex says, blue cheese for hot wings and a ranch for barbecue wings. All right. I like the nuance. My man. I know Buffalo's supposed to be the kings of wings. But Evan says we have CMC, Bijan, Kyron, Mostert, London, Brian Robinson for Jamar Chase. If that's Bijan Robinson, hell no, give me Mostert, London, Bijan. If that is Brian Robinson, give me Jamar Chase. Now, Tarek says 12-team BBR double flex, where we have Cousins, Jefferson, Smith, Pacheco, Madison, Goddard, Nico Collins, Adam Thielen. And then on the bench, we have Gainwell, Algier, Najee, Kareem Hunt. Just lost Mike Williams. What do we trade? So our fill-in for Williams for one of those flex spots will be Najee Harris. Wide receiver depth is not beautiful here. I mean, I do think that we still stand by keeping Justin Jefferson. Typically, if we're lacking depth, obviously the deals we send, a stud and we get back 2 players in return. I don't think this is a move that this team has to make just yet, though. It's a 12-team league, not a 14-team format. I would say we're probably not going to be doing anything in terms of trades, just continuously working the waiver wire where it does look like we have a few of those guys in the bench as startable options. Now, Ross Wong coming out says, 14-team BBR double flex. We're 3-0, where we have Herbert, Love, Bijan, Pollard, James Cook, Hopkins, Judy, Elijah, Sky, JSN, Lazard, Reynolds, Frymuth, Henry. Really feel like we need to make a move at receiver. What do you think? So 14-team double flex format, wide receiver depth is going to be significantly more important in this kind of league, where here we're starting DeAndre Hopkins, Judy. We only have 2 startable receivers. So I would really agree with you. If you wanted to send, say, Hunter Henry for a viable starting wide receiver in this kind of format, that's going to be something we're looking to do. Or same thing, if we could send James Cook and get back a wide receiver like Olave, a wide receiver like Waddle, get back a wide receiver in that range, I think that'd also be a viable play, my man, because it's a 14-team double flex full PPR. Cody says, still wise that I traded Kenneth Walker and Keenan Allen for Bijan. Probably not, but you could not have foreseen a season-ending injury to Mike Williams. Like Keenan Allen will probably be like wide receiver 5, wide receiver 6 in my rest of season rankings. Now, Tanchaka coming out says 10-team BBR double flex, where we have Lamar, Kamara, Kyron, Madison, Lamb, Devontae Amari, Puka, Laporta, Nico, Javonte Pitts. What can we improve and who do we trade? Honestly, love the team right now. Double flex format, I think this wide receiver depth is actually pretty nice to have. Fine rostering these 2 tight ends. You're not going to get anything for Kyle Pitts. I would throw Alexander Madison on the block just to see if anybody bites, just to see if anybody thinks that all of a sudden, oh yeah, now he is the feature back in minute. That would be the only thing. Great team, my man. Now, Big Daddy Muffin coming out says 0-3, need help. We're new to fantasy. We have Mac Jones, Garrett Wilson, Godwin, Brian Robinson, Dalvin, Waller, Osborne, Ingram, Akers, Daniel Jones, AJ Dillon, Eckler, Marvin Mims. Okay, this team will be much better when we get Austin Eckler in here. This team is not good for the moment. You've been very unfortunate. Eckler injury. I mean, you had the Aaron Rodgers injury for Garrett Wilson. Cam Akers turns out to be a complete and total bust. So I will say one thing. Let's not be rostering. Actually, no, I'm fine doing that. We can roster 2 quarterbacks. This team needs 2 things. One, we need to be starting Daniel Jones over Mac Jones, given the Daniel Jones rushing upside. I'm fine if we wanted to do it this week, bench Daniel Jones because he had no Barkley and he's going up against the 49ers. But going into this week, Daniel Jones was leading all quarterbacks in rushing yards. So put Daniel Jones in that starting lineup, my man. And outside of that, if you wanted to drop KJ Osborne and pick up another running back that maybe has a little more upside, I'd be fine with it. But yeah, I think that we are going to go ahead and get a lot more excited about this team when we have Eckler back in. Now, Joseph says, happy BR double flex 3-0 start. We got offered Amon-Ra and JSN for Walker, Hollywood, and Frymuth. JSN, Hollywood, still give me JSN. Amon-Ra versus Kenneth Walker, Pat Frymuth, probably St. Brown. We have Bijan Warren, Elijah Mitchell, Gainwell, Waddle, Ridley, Addison. I'd be fine because obviously we are desperate for RB2, but still probably more times than not, I am going to go through and I'm going to be taking the Probably going to be taking the Amon-Ra St. Brown team, especially St. Brown side, especially on a 3-0 team where we are just prioritized for long-term upside. Now, Chene says, I have Laporte and Andrews. We need a running back. Who am I trading for and which tight ends are worth keeping? We have Jones, Kyron Williams, and Ramondre Stevenson. We're going to be keeping these running backs. Honestly, I don't think you're going to get too much value for any of these players for what their production will be in a full PPR format. If you wanted to go send Andrews and you wanted to get to Gibbs, if you wanted to get to Walker, if you wanted to get to ETN, like the usual suspects who we recommend, or maybe Jonathan Taylor, you could go ahead and do that. Or if you want to send like Laporta and maybe like Kyron Williams and see if you can go get like a straight stud RB, that'd be fine as well. I would imagine we'd have an easier time selling Andrews if you were fully confident in Laporta, which Laporta does look great. Now, Sin Bobby says 3-0 10-team PPR format where we have Herbert, Pollard, Walker, Tyreek, Higgins, Ferguson, Pickens, and then on the bench we have Kamara, Frymuth, Charbonnet, Jameson, Purdy, and Kareem Hunt. Who to move and for who? 3-0 roster. We get Kamara back in. We have Jameson in the long term. I think the thing that this team would need would be a tight end upgrade. The fundamental issue is we don't have the value to actually make that kind of trade right now. So I think we sit on our hands. I don't think we're looking to do anything currently. I think we want to churn the waiver wire and hopefully long-term pick up another running back wide receiver we can extract value for and trade him with the tight end to go through and get that tight end upgrade. Now, Jackson says 12-team PPR format, start 8. We have Wilson and Zay Flowers for CeeDee Lamb. We're going to go CeeDee Lamb. Team is Allen, Etienne, Moss, Devontae Adams, Wilson, Flowers, Kmet. And then on the bench, we have Javonte, Roschon, Dotson, Rashee Rice, Quentin Johnston, and Devon Achane. Ooh, this is a good team. You're 100% going to go through and take CeeDee Lamb, especially with how strong this roster is, my friend. And at the same time that we have some depth on the bench like Javonte Williams and Jahan Dotson. Justin says 0-2 might be 0-3. Have BBR format, 12-team double flex. Just lost Mike Williams, Fields, Russ, Ford, Kyron, Keontae, Khalil Herbert, JT, Diggs, Adams, Higgins, JSN, Quentin Johnston, Ertz, and Joku. What moves can we make? So our starting lineup this next week will be Diggs, Adams at receiver, Higgins at the flex, running back, Kyron Williams, and Khalil Herbert. Going back to what we were talking about previously, if this team falls to 0-3, we have to trade Jonathan Taylor. We can't afford to fall to 0-4. We can't do it, my friend. I think we look to go ahead. I think that we look to sell Jonathan Taylor and possibly package him. Sell him for a running back 2 that's going to be viable right now, while at the same time, hopefully get a quarterback upgrade in the deal as well. If we go like JT for a nice running back we're excited about starting currently and a QB upgrade, if we're 0-3, that's going to be the move that we look to make. If we are 1-2, then we're just going to wait till JT comes back. Gavin says we're 0-3. We have Watson, Jacobs, Devon Achane, Gibbs, Kyron, Ford, and Hunt, Javonte, Chase, Kelsey, Addison, DJ Moore, JSN. Was thinking of targeting Waddle, but manager wants Kyron for him. What are your thoughts and any other moves? So running back would be starting Jake. I would offer him Devon Achane. I mean, we still have Jacobs, Gibbs to start. If we can go like, hey, I'll give you Devon Achane for Kyren Williams. Then we start Chase, Jalen Waddle, Travis Kelce, Jacobs, Gibbs, Kyren. That would be phenomenal. And if you are 0-3, some of this long-term upside, but someone that's not producing right now, such as JSN, probably should trade him in a quarterback to go get a package upgrade. Now, RJB says, lost Chubb and Mike Williams 3-0. First place in a 10-team league. Double keeper. We have Hurts, Walker 4, Diggs, Puka, Godwin, TJ Hawkinson, Flex, Montgomery, JT, Roshan, Sutton. Can't get Palmer. My man, you're going to be fine here. I know we lost Chubb and Mike Williams, but we're 3-0. We're going to get back JT and David Montgomery. I mean, this week, maybe we're going to be struggling just a bit. I think we continue to churn the bench here with the waiver wire. But honestly, I don't see any moves that this team wants to make. You still have some running backs that we can start this week. And then once we get JT and Montgomery back, we're going to be really excited. I'd say full PPR format, I probably would pivot off Montgomery, but we can afford to wait until he comes back on a 3-0 team. Joey says, do we trade A.J. Dillon for Elijah Moore? I had Mike Williams and trade Thielen and Hunter Henry for Jerome Ford, 16-team format. I would rather get a slightly better running back. If you're looking at Jerome Ford, I'm a little bit questioning what the role is going to be like when you have a fully implemented Kareem Hunt. Jerome Ford ultimately had 10 carries for 18 rushing yards this week. And trading A.J. Dillon for Elijah Moore, I am completely fine if you do this in a 16-team league. Now, at the same time, I am very spiteful. I went through and I started A.J. Dillon back-to-back weeks here. So I am maybe a little bit biased and maybe a little bit pissed. But Marino says 10-team at BBR format, we're 2-1, where we have Mahomes, Kelce, Bijan, Gibbs, Madison, Pacheco, Moss, Devon Achane, Kirk, Addison, London, Dotson, Elijah. How to improve wide receiver. I think if we have three running backs that we can start right now, you want to go through and you want to approach one of those teams that maybe lost Nick Chubb, maybe that really needs a running back this week, and go, hey man, I'll give you Zach Moss and Drake London for a wide receiver upgrade. Go make that deal now while people aren't really focused in on Jonathan Taylor coming back in. And obviously Zach Moss is completely crushing, but we don't need him with this team. Now, Christian says, down 21 with Gainwell White left, full BBR, what are my chances? He has nobody. If it's a full BBR format, I like our odds. I'd say we probably are at 65%. And mainly off of White. Marcel says, trade Higgins for Ridley, maybe Ayuk for Ridley. I'd rather trade Ayuk for Ridley, but honestly, Higgins for Ridley going to be up to you, personal preference. Mark says, Allen, Eckler, White, Ridley, McLaurin, Andrews, Hopkins. On the bench, we have Algier, London, Pirine, Bourne. 12-team BBR. What do? We are 1-2. I think it's a fine team once we get Austin Eckler back. I understand that how we've dropped a few weeks with no Eckler. We had no Andrews for a week. Ridley's been disappointing. I'd like to upgrade wide receiver too, but fundamentally, we don't see an easy deal to get that done. Honestly, I don't think we do anything. We're going to be much better with Austin Eckler coming back in. Hopefully, we can work the waiver wire to find a better high upside wide receiver too, though. James says Stevenson, Diggs for Jones and Chase. Diggs, Chase, probably going to be Chase. Stevenson, Jones, probably going to be Stevenson. Very, very fair deal. Can everybody please spam the chat? What side would you rather have? I think there would be a very easy answer after we see Jamar Chase and this Bengals offense tonight. But would you rather have Aaron Jones and Jamar Chase or Ramondre Stevenson and Stephon Diggs? Please spam the chat, either Diggs or Chase. Diggs or Chase, let me know what direction you're going in. And also, while you're down there, please make sure you drop a like on this live stream, ladies and gentlemen. We are closing in on 900 likes on this stream. We're doing everything that we can to hit 200,000 subscribers before this season ends. So you hitting that like button does help us out a ton. And also, if you want to check out any of these pick'ems over on Underdog Fantasy, you can find that link in the live chat, find it in the description, find it in the comment section. Promo code FLOCK, you're going to get a 100% deposit match up to $500 on Underdog Fantasy. And you're going to be getting our rest of season fantasy football rankings and tiers and a Joe Burrow special pick'em, more than less than half a total yard for tonight's game against the Los Angeles Rams. So please make sure you are taking advantage of that. But let's move this over. And I believe most people there, we were highlighting the questions and responses in the live chat, were saying Diggs, my friend. Caleb says 18 PBR, where we have Lawrence, Tua, CMC, Ramadre, JT, Kyron, Amonra, Lamb, Keenan, DK22, Deontay, Ingram, Laporta. Want a 2-for-1 for Bijan or keep lineup as is? I would really like a 2-for-1 for Bijan if we can go like Ramadre, DK, Ramadre, Tutu, Ramadre, Ingram. I mean, keep in mind, this is going to be an 8-team league. So naturally, those 2-for-1 deals are going to be advantageous almost all the time. Okay. Now, our next switch coming out from, I believe, Johnson says 10-team PBR format where we have Jalen Hurts, Reem Boster, James Conner, Tyreek Hill, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Darren Waller, Zay Flowers, and then on the bench we have Kamara, Roshan, Devon Achane, Jerome Ford, Deontay Johnson, and Kenneth Gainwell. Great team now that we're getting Kamara back in. I don't think we want to be making any trades. The only thing I would say is I'm going to be so confident with Alvin Kamara, especially with the injury with Jamal Williams, that I'll probably go through and I'll start Kamara over Zay Flowers in the flex spot immediately. Now, with that being said, Zay Flowers has looked very impressive, if I'm going to be honest with you. I mean, Zay Flowers did see a 100% route participation rate this past week, which obviously is awesome, but still, I don't know. Give me Alvin Kamara. I think Alvin Kamara is going to come in and crush. Okay. So now our next question coming out from, I believe, Chase, who says 6-team league, Raheem and Devon Achane both off waivers. Who would I pick up for the rest of the season? Love the videos, Mason. Appreciate you, my man. If you look at my rankings this week, I will have Raheem Mostert over Devon Achane. If you look at my rest of season rankings, I'm going to be going with the rookie that we expect to continue to increase his role. If you look at my rest of season rankings, I will go Devon Achane. I'm sorry. Yeah. Mostert this week, Achane long-term. Fubo says 16-team PBR, 2 wide receivers, 1 and 2. We have Herbert, Bijan, Sanders, Higgins, Addison, Ingram, Roshan. Bench, Rico, McKinnon, Palmer. Should we trade for depth and how? So typically this is something that I avoid doing because the majority of leagues that we look at are 10-team or 12-team formats. And in that kind of format, having an elite level quarterback is going to be extremely advantageous, and it should be easy to find depth at running back, wide receiver. But specifically with this kind of league, I would be fine if you wanted to go through, if you wanted to maybe trade Justin Herbert, get a lesser quarterback like maybe Anthony Richardson in here, while at the same time adding a wide receiver, right? Or adding a running back starter. I think that would be nice. Now, Gibbs says, PBR, do we trade Jacobs for Devon Achane and Quentin Johnston? No, I'd definitely rather have Jacobs there. Ahmed says, 12-team PBR format, 2 wide receivers and a flex. We have Allen, Henry, Gibbs, Barkley, Diggs, Lamb, Hawkinson, Collins, Warren, JSN, Kincaid, Frymuth, Elijah Moore. I'm 1 and 2. Any suggestions? Great team. I mean, this team has struggled a bit because 1, you have the Saquon Barkley injury. 2, Gibbs is a rookie. 3, Derrick Henry's been bad. If you could send Derrick Henry and maybe, I don't know, like Dalton Kincaid, and see if we can go get like a see if we can go get like a Tony Pollard level running back. I would love if we could swing that. Eric says, Mason, love the content. Dumb to spend 100% of my fab on Devon Achane. Dropping A.J. Dillon. Also, Waddle for Stevenson and a future second in Dynasty. Dynasty, give me Waddle. And if you're dropping A.J. Dillon, I don't know. Probably sounds like a little... I wouldn't go 100% of my fab, but I think you go extremely aggressive on it. Now, I am McCann coming out, says, appreciate you, Mason. We got to trade my Puka and Raheem Mostert for their Jamar Chase and Gus Edwards. The team is Lamar, Jacobs, JT, Lamb, Hopkins, Andrews, MT, Hunt, Charbonnet. Have BBR double flex. If not Chase, who should we target? So going from Puka to Chase, big time upgrade in my mind. Sending away Mostert for Gus Edwards, big time upgrade. Downgrade. I would try this deal for Diggs first. Obviously, Jefferson. Obviously, CMC. I would send those out. If those get rejected, I'd be fine with you pulling the trigger. Raheem Mostert looks like he's going to continue to crush it. But as we get Devon Achane, the rookie, expanding his role, and as we get Jeff Wilson Jr. added back in, I'm not 100% confident in saying that Raheem Mostert will be an elite RB. Now, Zach coming out says 10 TPBR 2-0. Quarterback, we have Tua. Wide receiver, we have Hill, Brown, Debo, Puka, Lockett, Addison, Myers. Running back, we have Walker, Stevenson, Hall, James Cook. Tight end, we have Ertz, Barkley. Barkley owner wants Debo and James Cook. Do I trade for Barkley, Mixon, or Barkley, Hopkins? I would trade the combination of Debo Samuel and James Cook for Saquon Barkley and Joe Mixon. I'm going to do that. Will be a no-brainer for me as well. I understand Debo was great on Thursday, but fundamentally, I mean, you did have the Brandon Ayuk shoulder injury that he's been dealing with over the past 2 weeks. Now, Blake coming out says 14-team full BBR format where we have Allen, Ramondre, Algier, Jamar Chase, DJ Moore, Waller, Sky Moore. Should we get rid of DJ Moore for Romeo Doubs or any other suggestions? I probably would not. I mean, I was not a DJ Moore guy coming into the season, but to sell him now, you're going to get nothing in return. Romeo Doubs, probably, I mean, a nothing burger when you have Christian Watson back in. I would say no suggestions outside of maybe what we told the person in the 16-team format. It's something that I generally stray away from in the majority of fantasy football leagues. But here when we're lacking depth severely and it's a larger format overall, if you wanted to trade, say, like Josh Allen and get back a lesser quarterback like Anthony Richardson and another wide receiver that we are very excited about that we can play, I'd be fine with it. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we are 4 likes away from hitting 900 likes on this live stream. Please, if you have not done so already, go down there, hit that like button. And Vader, always happy to see you. My man says, hey, Mason, most likely going to be 0-3. Team is Hurts, Sanders, Javonte, Jefferson, AJ, Amari, Kittle, Hall, Akers, London, JSN, Charbonnet, Gainwell. 10-team league, any moves. So if we're going to be really in playoff mode right now where we need points in this lineup ASAP, these guys with long-term upside but aren't producing currently are immediate sells. Let's go sell JSN and Miles Sanders. Let's get some actual running back points in here. Let's go sell Breece Hall and Javonte Williams. Let's get some running back points in here. We're going to make those 2-for-1 deals so we can get that running back upgrade in the short term. I mean, obviously, it's a tough spot to be in. 0-3, you are in playoff mode, though. It's win or go home almost. Harvey says, been offered Jordan Love for Chris Olave. He has Fields. Oh, I'd way rather have Olave, my man. Zarel says, sent Puka, Kyron, Nico for Chase, Moss, Kamara. Give me Chase over Puka. Kyron, Kamara, up to you. Moss, Nico, kind of up to you. Probably Moss. I'd way rather have Chase, my man. Now, Ryan says Eckler for Higgins and Jacobs. Ooh. If Eckler's healthy, probably want Eckler. AD says 0-2, need 17 points to win this week. We have Devonta Smith and Higgins. Who do you? Oh, my gosh, the pressure is on. Can everybody please spam the chat? Who are you going to be playing? You're going to be playing Devonta Smith or T. Higgins here. Devonta Smith or T. Higgins, ladies and gentlemen. We got Smith. Everybody's saying Smith. AD says got both to play still. Oh, wait. Did I misread this, my man? Oh, you're going to be able to play both these? If you're playing both these guys, you're going to be great, my man. You win. You win. Full BBR format. You have Smith and T. Higgins. I think the odds that one of these guys hits this, a little bit questionable, but that they combine for it, really like those odds. Okay. Let's move this over. Nate says 10-team 3 wide receivers PBR. I have the opportunity to get CMC. My receivers are Diggs, AJ, Evans, Puka, Amari, Judy, Tank. My running backs are Walker, Kyron, Gibson. He's asking for at least Diggs and Kenneth Walker. Do I do it? 10-team lead, but you have to start 3 wide receivers. I would probably hesitate if you have to start 3 wide receivers. If you could go AJ Brown and Walker, then let's do it. Evans and Walker, let's do it. Puka and Walker, let's do it. Diggs is probably a little bit too much. But Charles says, loving the stream, 16-team full BBR double flex, 3-player keeper, 0-3, and we lost Dobbins. We losing Dobbins in a 16-team league is like something that's almost impossible to overcome. We have Fields, especially if Fields flames out. Mixon, Zach Moss, Diggs, Amari, Pitts. I'm actually surprised to see how good this team is. The bench is Charbonnet, Josh Reynolds, Shark, Downs, Harris, Auden. Any moves? No moves as of now. I would say just based off of the situation that we find ourselves in, where we flame out at quarterback, flame out at running back. If you wanted to go through and potentially burn it down if we fall to 0-4 and see if we can start selling some of these assets for younger pieces, like going through and selling Stephon Diggs and getting back a wide receiver that maybe we're more excited about in 2024 as a keeper. That would be about the point we're looking to do it, because it's so much harder to take a couple whiffs on a 16-team 2-flex format than it would be like a regular 10-team league. Blake says 14-team BBR format where we have Allen, Ramondre, Algier, Jamar, DJ Moore, Waller, Sky Moore. What moves do we make? I think we already answered this, my man. Did we already? Yeah, we did. Vader says, who are your top 3 waiver wire pickups from your video? I would say Devon Achane, not close, number 1. I'm going to have to remind myself, my man. If y'all don't know, I know we said it a couple times in yesterday morning's stream, but I had about, I want to say 10 meetings or so with potential full-time devs for flockfantasy.com yesterday. I woke up at 5 in the morning to go through and do the Sunday morning live stream. And on top of that, I stayed up till 2 in the morning making videos for today. So those videos, like that waiver wire video I recorded, was a complete blur. Okay, Tank Dell, Romeo, here's who is in it. Tank Dell, Romeo Dobbs, Quentin Johnson, Joshua Palmer, Josh Downs, DJ Shark, Adam Thielen, Devon Achane, Kareem Hunt, Tajay Spears. I would go probably Devon Achane. Generally, I tend towards the RBs. Maybe Devon Achane, Tank Dell, and Tajay Spears. Probably keep with the running backs. Unless you needed to start this week. If you really need to start like this week, then you're probably going to go ahead and probably go with like Adam Thielen. Now, Jags Got Juice says full BBR, Brian Robinson or Devon Achane, Tank or Addison. Going to go with Robinson over Achane, and then we're going to go Addison over Tank. Can everybody let me know in the live chat, would you rather have Brian Robinson or Devon Achane? Obviously, Devon Achane just dropped 50 points. Let me know. We'll be a little bit of a tough question. We may have to think about this a little bit more. Okay. And as we wait, we have Uncle who says, first time fantasy football. Love the channel. Appreciate you, my man. 1 and 2 at BBR. 1 quarterback, double flexes, 6 bench. We have Allen, Puka, Wilson, Dotson, Hollywood, Bateman, Deontay, Bijan, Kelly, Pierce, Herbert, Warren, Ingram, Kincaid. Any moves? Okay, well, back to this in 1 second. Let's just see. Robinson, Achane, Achane, Robinson. Okay, yeah, looks like most people agree with us. Most people are saying Brian Robinson over Devon Achane. Okay. But if we're looking at this team, I mean, well-balanced at tight ends, or we have an elite level quarterback. Wide receiver takes that massive hit with the Aaron Rodgers injury for Garrett Wilson. Running back, we're not really excited about any of our RB2 options. The only thing I would say is if you wanted to send one of these tight ends to get an upgrade at RB2, I wouldn't mind doing that. I would sell Puka if we could get back Olave, get back A.J. Brown, get back a wide receiver in that range before Kupp comes back, which I've seen a lot of people do that. I do like that we're not rostering a backup quarterback. We are focusing on as many running backs and wide receivers with upside as possible. Now, our next question coming out from Peter. Happy to see it. Says PBR. We have Hurts, Ramondre, Bijan, Waddle, Ayuk, Higgins, Laporta. And then on the bench, we have Dylan, Frymuth, Addison, Roshan, Warren, Hunt, JT. Rough week, 2 and 1. Who do we drop for Tank Dell? Thank you. Appreciate you, my man. Got to keep the running backs. Honestly, I wouldn't drop anybody for Tank Dell. I know a lot of people would. Actually, you can drop A.J. Dillon if you really wanted, or Pat Frymuth. I don't necessarily think you have to make this play. I think I would drop A.J. Dillon easily for Devon Achane. I would drop Kareem Hunt easily for Devon Achane. It just more so at the bottom end of the roster, especially if we're strong at wide receiver. I kind of like rostering these running backs that are an injury away from being true difference makers. But yeah, I guess maybe A.J. Dillon is not that because he's proven over the past 2 weeks. So if you wanted to drop Dillon, not going to fault you. LeBronosaurus Rex, long time member of the flock. Happy to see you. My man says, 3-0. Do you trade Kelsey for Chase and Gibbs? I would. 10-team league, Musgrave's available. Also could go Mostert for Gibbs straight up instead. I would do either deal. I think 3-0 roster, you can afford to make the long-term play. Sam says 10-team happy BR where we have Herbert, Tyreek, Olave, Ridley, Henry, Brian Robinson, Pierce, Laporta, Warren, Roshan, London, Hunter Henry. Should we trade Derrick Henry for Kenneth Walker? Good question here. Can everybody please spam the chat? Who would you rather have? Would you rather have Kenneth Walker or Derrick Henry rest of season? I think you probably got to go with Kenneth Walker, no? If you look at my rest of season rankings, we're going to be posting these on flogfantasy.com tonight. I put Kenneth Walker at RB7, and I have Derrick Henry down at RB9. So let's see what people are saying. Walker, Henry, Walker. Henry, Walker. Henry, Walker. Yeah, so it looks like it's like a about 70-30 split in favor of Kenneth Walker. Now, Tommy says 12-team full BBR, 1 flex, 0-3, where we have Fields, Brian Robinson, Sanders, Kupp, St. Brown, Puka, Watson, Andrews, Dobbs, Kelly. And then we have Herbert, Gainwell, Spears, Atwell, Burks. What do we do? 0-3, we are entering in playoff mode. We need points immediately. So, honestly, with this team, if we could sell Cooper Kupp and go get someone like Chris Olave, you do it. You just need points in this lineup right now. We can't be thinking about Cooper Kupp's long-term upside. I would have said this, honestly, if we were 0-2. But just once you fall to like 0-3, you're kind of in playoff mode. Now, Justin says, hey, Mason, should we trade Mostert for CeeDee Lamb? Hell yes. My league mate seems a bit overeager to trade. Yes, it sounds like he is, my man. Jay says, flex one, Johnston, Hunt, JSN, or Dalvin Cook. Ooh. Probably JSN, but I've not looked at matchups, so I hold my right to change my mind later in the week. Now, let me move this over. JJ, long time, remember the vlog, says, I'm 3-0. We got Lamar, Jefferson, Smith, Hall, Moss, Hawkinson, Flowers. On the bench, we have Roshan, Sanders, Tajee, Judy, Christian Watson, and JSN. Any moves to make? And is it time to panic on JSN? No, it's not. We're 3 weeks in, my man. This is what you're expecting from a rookie wide receiver. I mean, obviously, Zay Flowers has the role that you really like to see. We have all the depth in the world here. If we could take maybe one of these depth receivers, such as like Zay Flowers, and you want to send him with Zach Moss to go get a long-term upgrade at running back, we can do that. But fundamentally, great team. Love that we're rostering a bunch of these high upside long-term options whenever we are 3-0, my friend. Swaggy says, should we trade Chase, Jacobs, and Gainwell for Diggs and Adams? Hell yes. Go make that move. Go get Diggs and Adams. Larry says Madison and Kupp for Ford and Lockett. I'd rather have Madison and Kupp there relatively easily, my man. But let me go through and refresh this page so we can keep on bringing these up. And as I do this, let me remind you, if you have not done so already, go down there, hit that like button. We are less than 50 likes away from 1,000 likes on this live stream. Subscribe to the channel. We're doing everything that we can to hit 200,000 subscribers before the season ends. And also, if you want to check out any of these pick'ems for tonight, you can find those on Underdog Fantasy. Promo code FLOCK, 100% deposit match up to $500. Plus, you're going to be getting our rest of season fantasy football rankings and tiers, and a Joe Burrow special pick'em, more than less than half a total yard against the Baltimore Ravens. I'm sorry, I'm an idiot. More than less than half a total yard against the Los Angeles Rams tonight. Okay. But let's move this over, and I believe our next question coming out from Cruz says, have PBR 10-team 1 flex. We have Kirk, Tua, Jefferson, lost Mike Williams, Christian Kirk, Tank Dell, Zay Flowers, King Henry, Kyron Williams, Zach Moss, Brian Robinson, Sanders, Hawkinson. We're 0-3. You're 0-3. We're playoff mode, my man. I won my first fantasy football championship starting off 1-4. But still, if we could go through and if we could take one of these guys like Cooper Kupp and just go get Chris Olave, go get someone to start right now, especially if we lose Mike Williams, we do it. And then also if we could take Kirk Cousins and package with a young stud wide receiver like Zay Flowers for someone who's going to give us a little more production right now as we start Tua, that'd also be something I'm looking to do. Now, Mason coming out saying 10-team Happy BR League where we have Mahomes, Amari, Collins, Pollard, Mostert, Kelsey, Flowers, Watson, Bryant. Oh, great team. No trades. Love the roster construction. We had Mahomes, Kelsey for the elite quarterback, elite tight end. We're rostering as many running backs and wide receivers as possible. That way, we're the next team to find Raheem Mostert, like we have. The next team to find Jerome Ford, like we have. Love to see it. Jordan says Josh Jacobs a buy low. Actually, I do not mind the Josh Jacobs buy low, especially knowing that he's going up against the Los Angeles Chargers. Now, Pesco Cole coming out says, full BBR 10-team league. Just got offered Diggs and Higgins for Justin Jefferson. I'd rather have Jefferson. Currently have Debo, Jefferson, Sheed, Jaden Reed. So we don't have that much depth. If it's like a league where you start, say, 3 wide receivers, 2 flexes, you can take the deal. More times than not, I go Jefferson. Anthony says 12-team league where we have Mahomes, Jacobs, Aaron Jones, DK, A.J. Brown, Lockett, Kittle, Gabe Davis, Tutu. On the bench, we have Henry, Zay Jones, McKinnon, Calvin Austin, Charbonnet, Elijah Mitchell. We're 0-3. What should I do / get? Okay. If we could get any value for Hunter Henry, like going through and selling Hunter Henry in a package with either Gabe Davis or Tutu Atwell to get a slightly better flex, I go ahead and make that move when we have Kittle to start every week. But outside of that, I don't really have anything for you, my man. I definitely think this is one of those teams that needs to be churning the waiver wire and hopefully can find a high upside option. Now, Sammy coming out says 10-team full BBR format. We're 1-2 where we have Burrow, CMC, Sanders, Amon-Ra, Olave, Pitts, Godwin, Pierce, Judy, JSN, Elijah, and Reynolds. What are we looking to do? How are we 1-2 if we have CMC? I guess that's a 10-team league. Phenomenal team. I mean, if you really wanted to take one of these depth wide receivers like Godwin and Pitts to see if we can go get an elite level tight end, we could do that. Now, Nick says 10-team full BBR format where we have Hurts, Kyron Williams, Aaron Jones, Tyreek, Adams, Ingram, Evans, Pacheco, Devon, A-Chain, Roshan, Downs, Kamara, and Flowers. Any moves we should make? Thanks for all the work you do for the vlog. No, thank you so much, my friend. So, I mean, I'm assuming that we're in a great spot having Tyreek Hill and Devontae Adams here. I mean, we probably should have won over the past few weeks. I like that we're prioritizing running back upside down there on the bench. We're about to get Alvin Kamara back in. I think this is a team that if we have Tyreek Adams at the very top, we have Evans at wide receiver 3. We could afford if you really wanted to take Zay Flowers and Evan Ingram to see if we can go get an elite level tight end, see if we can go get Andrews. But, I mean, great team. Bad Ape says Lamar and Swift for Eckler and Cousins. I'm going to go Eckler and Cousins there, my man. Ethan says 3-0, 12-team, full BBR 1 flex. We have Herbert, CMC, Madison, A.J. Brown, Olave, Laporta, Mike Williams, Higbee, Sutton, Elijah Moore, Nico, Roshan Purdy, JT, Kelly. I have 152 versus 139. He has Hurts. I have A.J. Brown. Oh, you're going to have a fun night tonight, my man. I don't want to pencil you up 3-0. I think there's a chance the team's 2-1. Just a chance, but great team. I'm not going to be looking to make any more moves on this squad, my man. I mean, this is a 3-0 roster potentially where we are really excited about where we stand currently, and we're going to be bringing in Jonathan Taylor to replace Alexander Madison in this starting lineup. I wouldn't mind if you wanted to drop Purdy for another running back wide receiver just because we may have a little bit of a depth issue with the Mike Williams injury. Garrett says 12-team full BBR double flex spots. We have Hurts, Walker, Swift, Jefferson, Puka, Andrews, Flowers, London, and the backup Zay Jones. Any suggestions or trades? Double flex, depth's going to matter a little bit more. I would love to sell Puka and get either Devonta Smith or A.J. Brown to get the Jalen Hurts stack for the long-term when Cup comes back. We have the elite QB, the elite tight end. I don't necessarily think that there's anything that we're going to be looking to do in terms of trades outside of that small one. I would say just make sure we're rostering as many running backs, wide receivers as possible. Blake says, should I trade Pollard for Cup? My wide receiver room is bad, and then we have CMC as well. No, you do not. Maybe when Cup is officially back, then we can have that conversation, but not right now. Now, Juan says 12-team standard league, quarterbacks Burrow, Geno. Running backs are Pollard, Sanders, Algier. Wide receiver Diggs, Evans, Judy, Hopkins, Hollywood, Goddard, and Higbee. 2-1 and any moves. Love that we have Geno. I'm assuming we played him over Burrow this week. We have the wide receiver depth. I don't love having 2 quarterbacks and 2 tight ends. I think this roster construction's fine outside of I would love to see if we could go through, trade a depth wide receiver like Hopkins and Miles Sanders, get a running back upgrade. And then long term, we'll eventually look to change and not roster 2 quarterbacks and 2 tight ends. But for now, we have to sit on our hands. Now, Saj coming out says 12-team full BBR. We have Kirk, CMC, ETN, Amon-Ra, Amari, Ingram, Brian Robinson. On the bench, we have Pickens, Pierce, Cooks, Warren. Should we trade Amon-Ra, Amari, and ETN for Jamar and A.J. Brown? Amon-Ra to A.J. Brown, lateral move, up to you. Amari and ETN versus Jamar Chase. One flex league, I probably make this move. Multiple flex league, you probably make the package. Very fair trade. I could see an argument one way or another. But real quick, ladies and gentlemen, if you have not done so already, please go down there, hit that like button. We are right now, I believe, 2 likes away from hitting 1,000 likes on this live stream. And also, if you want to check out any of these pick'ems over on Underdog Fantasy, you can find that link in the live chat, find it in the description, find it in the comment section. Promo code FLOCK, 100% deposit match up to $500 with a new account on Underdog Fantasy. Plus, you're going to be getting our rest of season fantasy football rankings and tiers. And on top of that, ladies and gentlemen, you'll be getting a Joe Burrow special pick'em tonight against the Los Angeles Rams. But let's move this over. Our next question coming over from, I believe, Jose Goaded, who says 12-team full BBR format. Oh, we're going to have to move this around. Sorry about that. Where we have Allen, Justin Herbert, Travis Etienne, Breece Hall, Lamb, Ridley, Lockett, Kincaid, Ayuk, Anthony Richardson, JSN, Brian Robinson, Quentin Johnson, Elijah Mitchell. Any ideas? Great team. I mean, we definitely need Raheem Mostert here to play at running back too in the short term. I think he's going to be someone that we look to hold on to. The only thing I'd say is if we could go through and potentially extract some value out of someone who's been pretty damn good in Anthony Richardson whenever we have Josh Allen here. If you wanted to send like Anthony Richardson and potentially another player like, I don't know, maybe a Brian Robinson and get back an elite level RB, I think that could be interesting. Now, Bud Wheeler says 10-team at BBR format, 1 flex, we're 0-3. We have Lawrence, Etienne, Walker, Chase, Lamb, Ridley, Goddard. And then on the bench, we have Ayuk, Puka, Ford, Charbonnet. What do? We are 0-3. I mean, my man, if you're in a spot where your wide receivers are so damn good that even with no Cooper Kupp, we are not starting Puka Nacua, probably someone that we should look to go ahead and sell, probably someone that we should look to package with Lawrence and get back a top 3 quarterback with Mahomes, Allen, or Hurts, or package with Dallas Goedert to get back a top tight end like Kelsey. Now, Elliot Sousa coming out says 12-team Happy BR offered Gibbs and Flowers for Kenneth Walker. Happy BR format, probably on the Walker side. My other running backs mixing, Stug with Gabe Davis with Deontay Johnson out. Love the content. Really appreciate you, my man. I think it was a full BBR format. You can make the argument here for Gibbs. Happy BR format, you probably do need to go with Kenneth Walker. Midmoon says, trade away DK for Alvin Kamara. Happy BR, great show. Appreciate you, my man. If you were desperate for a running back, I'd be fine with it. Matt says, is Mostert and DJ Moore or Lockett for Gibbs and overpay? Full BBR format, it's something that I would do just thinking long-term, but Raheem Mostert will be ranked over Gibbs this week. So it really depends on your timeline. Now, Jordan says, hey, Flock, love the content. Appreciate you. We got Love, Mixon, Moss, Jefferson, Olave, Andrews, White, Watson, Collins, Kelly, Miller, Palmer. What are your thoughts? Who should we try to go for? I don't necessarily think we need to make any move with this team. I mean, if we were going to do something, if we could potentially go ahead and take some of this running back depth, take someone like Rashad White and Jordan Love and get a quarterback that we're really excited about, go get a top 4 to 5 quarterback, we would do it. It's just harder to do it because behind Rashad White, I don't know how much we love our depth right now. Now, Pat says 12-team PBR where we have Lawrence, Gibbs, Stevenson, Lamb, Ridley, Waller, Nico. On the bench, we have Elijah Mitchell, Mooney, Ferguson, Zach Charbonnet, Osborne, Barkley on the IR. What are your trade thoughts? Hard to know without knowing our record. I mean, obviously, right now in our starting lineup, depth is not great. I think that this team will be strong in the long term where we won't have to do anything. I think we're just going to be sitting on our hands waiting until we end up getting back, say, Jonathan Taylor and Saquon Barkley. When we get these running backs back, then at that point, if we could go through and look to sell someone else at the running back position like Stevenson in a package to go get a wide receiver upgrade, that could be something that we're looking to do. But for now, we're going to be sitting on our hands till those RBs are healthy. Mr. Filthy Wubs, happy to see us. Says, hopefully 3-0, 12-team PBR, where we have Fields, Jacobs, Etienne, Lamb, Higgins, Ingram, Gibbs, Kelly. And then on the bench, we have Waddle, Jaden Reed, Robert Woods, Josh Reynolds, Tutu Atwell, any moves. Love the team. The only thing I'd say is let's definitely drop some of these depth wide receivers. Let's drop like Jaden Reed, drop Robert Woods, probably drop Josh Reynolds, drop Tutu. I don't like that our bench is composed of entirely wide receivers. I'd rather roster more running backs that are an injury away, try to find the next Devon A-Chain, the next Jerome Ford, the next Kareem Hunt, yada, yada, yada. Especially if we're 0-3, I think we just clear out the bottom end of the bench at wide receiver, bring in a few running back pickups, and bring up a quarterback if we have Fields. Now, Austin says 12-team PBR about to be 0-3. We have Lawrence, Richardson, Jacobs, Walker, Moss, Diggs, Amari Puka, Andrews, Laporta, Elijah, Charbonnet, JT, Roshan, Cooks. We need some help. It's a good team. How the hell is this team? The only thing I'd say is if we have Andrews and Laporta, my man, let's go ahead and let's see if we can send Laporta with one of these wide receivers, such as Puka, and get like an elite level wide receiver for both the short and long term. I don't think this is one of those 0-3 teams where you have to trade away Jonathan Taylor because, hell, we have Jacobs, Walker, Moss to start in the short term. Like, you're in a good spot. That's like the only thing I could come up with because we do have Andrews. Now, Washuzi says, I need 14.5 from A.J. Brown PBR to win. Yes or no? Full PBR, I like it. Non-PBR, I'd say probably not. Now, Nick says, Burrow owner here, Stroud or Love for the backup for the rest of the season. I probably go Love, especially if we're going to get Watson and Aaron Jones back in at some point. Serge says 3-0, second in my 10-team PBR league with Allen, CMC, Walker, Chase, Addison, Thomas, TJ Hawkinson. And then on my bench, we have Akers, Boyd, Cousins, Kupp, and Jameson. How do we improve? 3-0 where we are going to be getting Cooper Kupp back in. I would like to see if we could go through and, maybe get an elite level flex now. I think we don't have to do this, but it's at least intriguing. If we have Josh Allen, if we want to go out there and approach the Justin Fields team and go, hey man, I'll give you Kirk Cousins and Michael Thomas. What's the best wide receiver I can get? And see if we can have a move like that where we get an upgrade in the flex spot. I think that could be interesting, but overall, it's a great team. Daniel says we need 40. We need to go for the ceiling. Pick 2. Puka, Kyron, Mixon, and Mike Evans. I think I'm going to be going with most likely. Oh my gosh. What's the pick 'em on Mixon versus Kyron? Kyron's at 90.5 total yards. Mixon's at 96.5 total yards. Also, you have the Bengals as 3-point favorites. So I think naturally there's probably a little more touchdown upside in Cincinnati. If it's a full BBR format, I think we're probably going to go Puka and Puka and Joe Mixon, my friend. Now, Troy says 0-3, 12-team BBR double flex. We have Jones, Love, Jefferson, Waddle, Watson, London, Zay, Stevenson, Aaron Jones, Brees Hall, Gainwell, Kittle, Juwan Johnson. What do we do? Cut Juwan Johnson, pick up another running back that you like with a lot of upside. Play the matchups between Jordan Love and Daniel Jones. Fundamentally, the main reason this team is 0-3 is the quarterback play that we have had. We've been, I'm assuming, starting Daniel Jones every week, and it's obviously been brutal. I think going forward, this team will be better when Daniel Jones does have better matchups. He's not going up against the Cowboys, not going up against the 49ers every week. Cut Juwan Johnson, pick up a running back, pick up a wide receiver, and I think the team will be naturally better. Edwin says, I'm down 13.5 at the flex. Should we go Mixon or Chase? If it's only 13.5, I probably go Mixon. Problem Bless says, how do we go get Lamar or Herbert? We have Lawrence, Bijan, Ford, St. Brown, Olave, Ridley, Dell, Goddard. And then on the bench, we have Flowers, Pickens, Pierce, Algier, Roshan, and JT. If we could go, say, Trevor Lawrence and Tank Dell to go get Lamar Jackson, I would love that. Or Trevor Lawrence and George Pickens, or Trevor Lawrence and Zay Flowers. That will be the structure of the deal that we're looking to make if we can get Lamar. And I don't know if we really want to be trading for Herbert right now with, Mike Williams out for the season. Now, Elon Tuss says, Sub Mason, should we trade Ramadre and Hopkins for Etienne and Higgins? Thanks, my guy. No, appreciate you, my dude. I think we are going to go ahead. We're going to take Etienne and Higgins. I think I would actually prefer the running back and wide receiver on that side. Green Blocker says Ridley for DJ Moore and Darren Waller. Ugh. If you're desperate at tight end, I'm kind of fine with you doing it. Like I said, did not like Waller coming into the season, but I think now he's a much more reasonable price. Now, Jose says 12-team PBR format double flex, where we have Tua, Pollard, Madison, Tyreek, Amon-Ra, Tutu, and Warren. And then on the bench, we have Kupp, Quentin Johnson, JSN. What can we do to improve our team and flex spots? Okay, tough spot to be in. I think that this is a team that really needs to go through and continuously churn the waiver wire. Obviously, we love the studs. At one point, we're going to have Pollard, Tyreek, Amon-Ra, Kupp all in the starting lineup. Because this is a 12-team format, we're going to have decent enough options on the waiver wire where I don't think this is a team that you need to go out there and do anything crazy like trading Tyreek Hill down for 2 pieces. I'm assuming that this is a team that's also sitting with a good record, considering that Tua is our quarterback, Tyreek is our wide receiver, and we are about to get cut back in. I don't think you want to do anything crazy with the team. I don't honestly want to make any trade, and I'll just be playing the waiver wire where we can. Now, let me refresh this so we can pull up these questions, ladies and gentlemen. And as I do this, if you have not done so already, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you play fantasy football. We are doing everything we can to hit 200,000 subs. And if you want to check out any of these pick'ems for the games tonight, you can find that link in the live chat, find in the description, find in the comment section. Promo code FLOCK, 100% a positive match, up to $500 on Underdog Fantasy. Plus, you're going to be getting our rest of season fantasy football rankings and tiers. And on top of that, ladies and gentlemen, you'll be getting a Joe Burrow special pickup for the game against the Rams tonight, more than less than half a passing yard against the Rams. But our next question here coming out from, I believe, Pablo says, 10-team full BBR format. Should I trade Derrick Henry for Raheem Mostert? No. I understand how you would think that. I understand how you would get there with what happened this past week. I'd still rather have Derrick Henry over Raheem Mostert, my friend. Hospital Mike says 3-0, 12-team full BBR format, where we have Watson, Kyron, Madison, Jefferson, Olave, Andrews, DJ, Tank Dell. And then on the bench, we have Javonte, Tajee, Cooks, Calvin Austin, and Luke Musgrave. Should we trade for Chase? I would love a trade for Chase. I'd send Olave for Chase, and hell, I would even go through and add in someone like Tank Dell. If we can go with, Chris Olave and Tank Dell and go get Jamar Chase and pair up Jefferson and Chase, that'd be nuts. Illa says, trade Joey Burrow, Kyron Williams, and George Pickens for Allen and Jalen Warren. Pickens, Warren, kind of similar. Would I rather have Burrow and Kyron versus Josh Allen? Very dependent on your team. I think it's a very fair deal. Jeffrey says 12-team PBR format where we're 1-1. We have Lamar, Bijan, Connor, Tyreek, Devonta, DeAndre Hopkins, Andrews, Javonte. We traded Devonta Smith, Hopkins, Connor, Kamara for Amon-Ra, Barkley, McLaurin. Win or loss. Smith to Amon-Ra, upgrade. Connor and Hopkins to Barkley, massive upgrade. Massive W here, my man. I think that there's a chance Barkley comes back this week. Edwin says I'm down 13 at my matchup. Are we going to go Chase or Mixon? We're going to go Mixon there, my friend. Joey says 12-team non-BBR format, 0-3. We have Burrow, Eckler, Etienne, Lamb, Metcalf, Rashad, Ingram. And then on the bench, we have Dylan, Kelly, Addison. We need help. It is way too late to make any trades with this team because fundamentally what this team comes down to is Burrow healthy and are we going to be able to rely on him? If he will be, and if we can rely on Joe Burrow, we are in a fine spot and we really don't have to panic. But obviously we just don't know what the situation is going to be right now. Now, Colin says 1-2 team is Jacobs and Evans for Bijan, a good offer. I would rather have Bijan here, especially in a 10-team, 1-keeper league. Louis says, what kind of package would you put together for Chase? Between Lamb, Wilson, London, Jordan Addison, Elijah Moore, Devon Achane, Kadri Miller, Tank Dell, and Jalen Warren. I would love to send like Garrett Wilson, Devon Achane, and Tank Dell. If we could somehow swindle ourselves Garrett Wilson, Devon Achane, Tank Dell to Jamar Chase, I think that'd be very appealing. Or if you were just thinking long-term and wanted to go like Lamb and Tank Dell, that could be something as well. I think Tank Dell is going to be a wide receiver that naturally people get excited to trade for right now. Sawyer says trade Etienne for Olave/Osborne. Desperate with Goff, Dak, Walker, Mostert, Hopkins, Kittle, Taylor, Kupp, Williams, Dobbs, McKinnon, Dillon, Shaheed. Osborne literally means nothing. It's would you rather have Etienne or Chris Olave here, my man? Do not think Osborne moves the needle in the slightest. It's not even a tiebreaker. It's not even good enough for that. It's the same as Shaheed. Like you would have to cut Shaheed if you're going to do this. So would you rather have Etienne or Jalen Waddle? I'm sorry, Etienne or Chris Olave. Really up to you. Can everybody spam the chat? With this team here, would you rather have Travis Etienne or Chris Olave rest of season? Please help out Sawyer. They're a long-time member of the flock. Dylan says, PBR tied right now. We have Puka. They have Goddard and Godwin. It's going to be a close one, my man. Going to be a close one. Lama Drama says, PBR up 70 as Godwin. Who do we play, White or Swift? I would go White in that instance. Okay, so we got Etienne, Olave, Etienne, Olave, Etienne, Olave. So it looks like most people are saying Travis Etienne. Y'all, I love both players, but I will say if you are trading away a running back at this point, you definitely want a premium. Now, Apollo says 10-team BBR 1 flex, where we have Allen, Mostert, JT, White, Montgomery, Kupp, Evans, AJ, Ayuk, Everett, Schultz. Any ideas? It depends. If we are right now 1-2, if we're 2-1, we are in a great spot. We don't need to do anything. We just need to wait. We need to wait till we get JT, wait until we get Cooper Kupp back in. But if you're 0-3, then it's full-blown panic. We have JT, Kupp, Montgomery, and Ayuk all injured. And it's probably about time to see if we can stay alive by trading one of those players for production this week. At the buzzer says, should we trade Henry for Etienne and JSN? Yes, I would. Blake says, start Stafford or Burrow in a 2QB league. I'd go Burrow for the upside, Stafford for the floor. Noah says, we have Moss, Gibbs, Ford, Javonte, Montgomery, JT, Chase, Amon St. Brown, Olave, Goddard, Lamar. It's a 10-team BBR format. We need an elite RB. 1-2, what moves do we make? All right, here's what you're going to do, my man. I understand we need an elite level at running back. So you are going to put your right hand behind your head like this. You're going to put your left hand behind your head like this. You're going to lean back and relax because you're going to get Jonathan Taylor back in a week, baby. You're going to be just fine. You're 1-2. Let's stay alive. Let's play Zach Moss, Jahmyr Gibbs this week. Then you get back Jonathan Taylor next week and you're going to be fine. Don't worry. Now, Blake says 10-team BBR, 1 flex, 3-0. We have Allen, CMC, Pollard, James Cook, Connor, Garrett Wilson, Godwin, Flowers, Addison, Nico, Christian Kirk, and Andrews at tight end. Any moves? Hal, this is a 3-0 team with CMC and Tony Pollard. These are, I think we rank Tony Pollard as our RB3 rest of season in our rankings. We have rookie wide receivers that are expanding their roles. If we could take Godwin and maybe Andrews and somehow swindle ourselves into Kelsey, that'd be really nice, but a great team. Raul says, wearing the sick hat. Thanks, boss. Hell yes, my man. Super happy to hear that you got the flock hat. Really, really happy to hear it. If anybody in the chat got their flock fantasy hat, we've shipped out a ton. Please let me know how you like it. Let me know how you like it. Chris says, is Puka for Eckler straight up a good trade? I would rather have Eckler rest of season. Obviously Puka this week, but I'd rather have Eckler rest of season. Okay. Let me refresh this and pull up our next question. And as I do this, if you haven't done this already, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. And if you want to check out any of these pick'ems over on Underdog Fantasy, promo code FLOCK, 100% deposit match up to $500. Plus, you're going to be getting our rest of season fantasy football rankings. You're going to be getting a Joe Burrow special pick'em more than less than half a total yard. And Ryan says he loves the hat. Hell yes. Love it, my man. And then John asking how you get it. Promo code FLOCK on Underdog Fantasy, my man. If you're a member of flockfantasy.com, go to the Discord, fill out the Google form. Shipping out a ton of flock hats. We have a ton more ready to go. Just please go fill out the Google form if you use promo code FLOCK on Underdog Fantasy. And yeah, I really do like the hats. I know we probably need to get a new one. This one's a little dirty here to show off on the screen, but awesome. Super happy to hear that y'all like it. Okay. Now, our next question coming out from, I believe, Blake says, hey, in a 14-team BBR format where we have Allen, Ramadre, Algier, Chase, DJ Moore, Waller, Sky Moore, do we trade Allen and DJ Moore for Devonta Smith and Jamal Williams, or do we look for more? My league mates are stubborn. Josh Allen, DJ Moore for Devonta Smith, and you need no. This doesn't accomplish anything. This doesn't give us, like, the Josh Allen for Devonta Smith and Jamal Williams, maybe we do that. We don't include DJ Moore, right? The fundamental issue with this team maybe is in a 14-team format, we don't have the depth, right? So we want to be picking up extra starters. So like the deal would be like Josh Allen for Devonta Smith and a quarterback if we can get one. Not necessarily Josh Allen, DJ Moore for Devonta Smith and Jamal. Ron Burgundy says, Mason, my good man, who wins this trade? Stevenson for Dylan in Hollywood. Appreciate you. Stay classy, my friend. No, thank you so much for being a long time member of the flock. I would rather have Stevenson over Dylan in Hollywood. I mean, at this point, based off of Dylan's production over the past 2 weeks, Dylan has done more harm than good for our fantasy football teams. Get rid of the guy. Caden says, thoughts on JSN being 4th in yards per separation per route run, according to Adam Schefter. I think JSN is a great talent. It's going to continue to expand his role. He had a buy low wide receiver last week, probably be a buy low wide receiver this week. And then also do think the Chargers move Palmer to the slot and Quentin Johnson a wide receiver too. I have no freaking idea, my man. We will see together. Hopefully Johnson gets on the field because as of now, we haven't seen him. Now, Love is in the air coming out. Says Allen, Pollard, Stevenson, Jefferson, Nico, Olave, Kittle. And then on the bench, we have Algier, Pittman, James Conner, Dalvin, Elijah Mitchell. Any upgrades at running back? Not sure about Stevenson. Plus, don't trust James Conner. Hard to sell Collins now. Collins would have been a nice sell last week. I don't want to sell Pittman if we can avoid it. If you could still somehow get off of, like, say, Nico Collins and Ramondre Stevenson to get to Travis Etienne, that would be nice. But it does kind of seem like people are realizing that Nico is probably not going to be much. Now, Christian says 12-team BBR format, double flex. We have Lamar, Hall, Kelly, Amon-Ra, Ridley, Mike Williams, Waller, Puka, Saquon, Montgomery, Stafford, Warren, Deontay, Henry. We can't really make any moves with this team. Only thing I'll do is cut Stafford. You don't need a backup quarterback. Pick up a wide receiver to replace Mike Williams. But fundamentally, you're going to have a very hard time making a move with this team when we have Saquon Barkley injured, David Montgomery injured, Deontay Johnson injured, and we are waiting to get these depth pieces back in. Now, Will Smith Sr. coming out says, 10-team, 1 flex. We have Hurts, Henry, Mixon, Ford, Kelly, A-Chain Spears, Olave, Evans, Wilson, Dell, Moore, Myers, Shaheed, Goddard, 1 and 2. What do you think now? Who do we start week 4? Most likely, we're going to be going Hurts, Henry, Mixon, Olave, Evans, A-Chain, Goddard. Great team. If we could send like Tank Dell and Jerome Ford and get a phenomenal running back or a great wide receiver in return, that'd be the move. Now, Captain Swaggy Pants says 10-team BBR Dynasty. Trade Derrick Henry and Sutton for ETN. Oh, hell yes. Do that. Yes. Dynasty ETN by a mile there, my man. But we can probably actually pull up our next questions on the other screen. Kevin coming out saying Jalen Hurts, AJ Brown, Amon-Ra, Mixon, Kelsey, Watson, Madison, Montgomery, Gibbs, Lockett, 1 and 2. Any recommendations? If we could sell, say, David Montgomery and Tyler Lockett to go get a viable running back that we can feel comfortable about starting in the flex right away, that'd be something I'm looking to do. Full BBR format, not super excited about him when he comes back. And at the same time, I mean, you're 1 and 2. We want points now, not later. Now, Reed, it says Diggs for Andrews and Bijan. I'd rather have Mark Andrews and Bijan Robinson, my man. Interesting deal. Christian, welcome to being a member of the flock. Happy to have you. 44 MSU coming out says 10-team PBR 2 and 1. Tua, Bijan Walker, Ridley, Amari, Henry, Mostert. On the bench, we have Barkley, Waddle, Pitts, Flowers, Daniel Jones, Atwell, Hunt, Deontay. Should I package Mostert for an elite tight end to go for an elite receiver? Wait, what? If Mostert is on our bench, if we are not starting him with our lineup right now, then yes, we should sell him. If you wanted to send Mostert and Hunter Henry and go get a tight end like TJ Hawkinson, not going to fault you at all for that. Snap by Corey says, if I were to trade away a tight end, Ingram or Laporta, I probably have Laporta over Ingram rest of season now. Now, Brody coming out says, trade Pittman Collins or Pittman Moore for Devonta Smith. I'd rather have Moore over Smith. Rodrigo says 12-team 1 and 2, Puka, Hunt, Hollywood for JSN and Ridley. Ridley over Puka, JSN, Hollywood. Up to you, up to you. That's tough. Tesby says, what can I get for offering Khalil Herbert and Tutu Atwell? Not much. I would love if somehow we could swindle ourselves into like Rashad White, James Conner. Now, Ryan says, I can't lose 20 points at BBR, Godwin and Burrow / Stafford. We're down 20. I'm going to go Godwin and Stafford if we're not going up against anybody. Because I think Stafford has a higher floor, and we should get it easily then. Tanchagas has traded Puka and Madison for Travis Etienne. Double flex. I think, honestly, we probably paid a little bit too much. Phenomenal team, especially now that we get Kamara back. I just assumed we'd be able to get a little more. Now, Mutyke says 10-team at BBR super flex. Tua, Adams, Amari, Judy, CMC, Taylor, Watson, Ingram. So I trade McLaurin for James Conner for the flex. Hell yes. Go ahead and make that move. And honestly, I don't think we'd change anything when we get JT back here in the long term. But I think we're all caught up on questions. We actually got one more coming in from Blake. Happy to see my man. 2-1, 14-team league. 3 wide receivers and 2 flex. So depth matters a ton. Watson, Kyler, Warren, Jacobs, Charbonnet, Gainwell, Tyreek, London, Amari, Dell, Puka, Ferguson at tight end. Any trades? In this format, we're starting Tyreek, Amari, London, Dell, and Puka. Specifically, no trades with this league. If this was a 10-team league, you start 2 wide receivers, 1 flex, then hell yes, I'd have a ton of moves for you, but I think you've done a great job setting yourself up in this format. Perfect format to go out there and punt tight end. Now, Franz says 1-2, 14-team full BBR format. We have Jones, Love, Gibbs, Kelly, White, Brian Robinson, Charbonnet, Chase, London, DJ, Andrews, Henry. Do you think I have anything to package for a wide receiver? Need help making moves? Keep up the grind, Mason. Really appreciate you, my man. 14-team format. I don't want to be sending 2-for-1 deals. Generally, if we were going to do so, I think this team has enough wide receiver depth where if you really wanted to make a trade, if it was a 1 flex league, you could sell maybe a player like DJ Moore and a quarterback like Jordan Love to go get a long-term quarterback upgrade. You don't have to if 14-team format's a little bit less advantageous. Now, next question coming out from, I believe Travis says, 0-3, we have Lawrence, Bijan, Connor, Madison, Javonte, St. Brown, Chase, Ridley, Laporta. The bench, we have Warren, Thielen, Kyler, Hubbard. Thoughts? Trade Javonte, Kyler for Anthony Richardson in a first. If this is a dynasty format, 0-3, let's burn it down. Hell yeah, let's go get Anthony Richardson in the first. Hell yeah, my man. But I think that should be it. I think we're going to end it here. If you have not done so already, subscribe to the channel. We will be live streaming later tonight. And if you want to check out any of these pick'ems for the game tonight, you can find that link in the live chat, find in the description, find in the comment section. Promo code FLOCK, 100% deposit match up to $500, plus our rest of season fantasy football rankings. Plus, you will be getting a Joe Burrow special pick'em later tonight, more than less than half a total yard against the Rams. But thank you again, ladies and gentlemen. I really do appreciate you. Really hope you have a great day, and really hope that we get to see you out with the live stream after the games.